Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera Passions. I am your regular host, Latara, back today with my niece, Lanaya. Welcome back, Naya. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. It's good to be back on the podcast. Had to come in for a little cameo.
Yeah, back by popular demand. People were asking on a couple of watch parties ago, like, when's your niece gonna be back on this show? And I was like, you know what? I'll ask her. And she was gracious enough to set aside some time and watch the episodes with me. And yeah.
I was very touched, honestly, when you told me that they missed me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, aw.
That's so nice. You were touched?
Yeah, I was touched. I was like, aw, they like me. They really like me.
Yeah, they do. Why wouldn't we? You're perfect. You're beautiful. You look like Linda Evangelista. You don't know that reference yet because we haven't gotten that far in Drag Race.
Well, we'll get there one day. We just got to get through season 7.
Have we not finished season 7 yet? The finale? No, we haven't watched it. We need to watch
the finale.
We haven't watched the finale.
We're like one episode away, I think.
Yeah. Well, this show's not about Drag Race. This show's about
Passions. Exactly.
And we watched episodes 821 through 825. Yes?
Yes.
I don't even really need to check with you because we watched them together on the couch, which is where we are today, recording from the couch. I don't know. I decided to do a little studio setup in my living room. Zoom would have been a lot easier.
But this is a lot more comfortable. In the end.
Yeah, it's cozy. Like, we get to stay on the couch and everything.
Exactly. And I love this couch.
I love this couch too. All right. So before we get into the episodes, gonna just go give a quick shout out to all the patrons over on Patreon. So thank you to Muna Shea, Lisa, Sid, Randall, Hannah, Camelia, Jeanette, Eric, Fantasia, Sean S, Larissa, Maria, Lisa, Jessica Jean, Laura, Karen, Uche, Justin, Paige, Casey, Garrinch, Daisy, Shane, Kelly, Taylor Harris, Crane, DJ, Kelly, and our newest and latest patron, Rodo. Thank you all so much for being patrons. That's right. Thank you.
Your list has really grown.
It grows and it shrinks and it grows. It flows and it ebbs. I lose one, I gain one. So it kind of has hit what I think is kind of its stasis with the, we have our core group of people that I see like at every watch party, which, by the way, we will be having watch parties this month coming up. April 17th, I believe, and April 20. Don't let me lie. Let me just look at the list because I'm about to lie. It's going to be April 17th and April 28th. See, I was going to say 24th. April 17th and April 28th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And just sign up for whatever tier you find most agreeable on the Patreon, and you can join us for a watch party. We have lots of fun. We do all kinds of different things. I think at the next watch party, I think we're gonna end up doing like personality quizzes for the characters.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, we've been talking about that on the Discord. So yeah, join the Patreon and join in all the fun and all the talk and all the chit chat. And with that, on with the show. Really big show this week. And Naya can attest to this because she actually was with me watching the episodes. This week, I was in a rage for 90% of it.
Yeah, you were raging out for most of the 5 episodes. Like, sometimes you had to pause and like just collect.
I know. I kept having to pause it and collect myself and take a breath. And I'm just talking like, oh my God, I hate this. I hate this guy. It was mostly, and you know what it is? This week, the 2 characters I probably hate the most were so heavily featured in these episodes, TC and fucking Antonio. Yeah. And so it was just a week full of,
oh brother, this guy stinks.
It was that all week long. I was just like, God, I hate this.
Yeah, they're pretty awful.
It's so awful. I hate them. So let's get into it. We're gonna start this week with magic.
The sound effects are so cool.
And you know what? Honestly, that sound is longer than the notes I have to give. There's
Fair,
nothing to
yeah.
talk
There's
about.
like nothing for Magic this week, unfortunately, for the Magic fans out there.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about. Tabitha and Connie talk about the babies. Y'all all know about the babies that have been running around, the future babies. And there's one she's chasing all around trying to figure out whose it is, and then she's like, we can't let it escape. It'll wreak havoc. We can't let them go too soon. Truthfully, I don't understand how these little future babies
I
work.
wanted to ask you, like, what the logistics of that was. Like, is the baby gonna hop inside of somebody and then they give birth? Like, I'm trying to figure out how it works.
Because I thought that they were just a sign, like a signal to Tabitha, like, oh, there's 4 babies on the horizon, and try to figure out whose is whose, whatever.
But see, that would have made too much sense.
Because then Tabitha says, like, oh, we can't let these babies out too soon. It'll ruin my whole plan. So I
Plan to what?
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what she's talking about.
Where do these babies come from? Do they
Well,
just materialize?
They came from a secret future door in her attic. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you know what? Fair. That makes as much sense as anything else.
So yeah, they chase around this baby. It escapes and ends up at the hospital and dancing in front of Charity. So let's very quickly talk about what's happening at the hospital. Kay shows up at the hospital with flowers to take to Charity, who is back in the hospital after having broken out after her surgery. And Kay runs into her mom, and Grace gives her shit and is like, I'm surprised that you're bringing your cousin flowers. Like, I know how competitive you are with her about Miguel. And Kay basically tells her, like, you know what, Mom? I'm not as bad as you think I am. And she tells her the same old shit she's been telling her. Not, you know what? I shouldn't say same old shit. Well, it is the same old shit. She keeps telling Grace, like, I act this way because you have neglected me. And I'm looking for love. Like,
Aww.
Kay has
Kind of makes it really sad,
it
actually.
actually is very sad when you think about it like that. Like, part of the reason is that Kay is like acting out like this. Yes, she's like obsessed with Miguel, but part of it is that she wants Miguel to love her. She's latched onto Miguel.
She wants that love that she never got from her mom.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say never got, because
Grace
loves her kids. She doesn't give her any attention, any real attention. And Kay's whole thing recently has been that Grace puts everybody else's wants and needs above Kay's, which is a valid criticism of Grace. She does do that.
Yeah, that is valid.
Yeah.
Like, it must feel really invalidating to, like, always be last place in your mom's heart or whatever.
Exactly. So, anyway, Kay just tells her, I'm about to give these to Charity, and I'm gonna tell her something that she deserves to know. I'm gonna tell her the truth about something. And Grace doesn't follow up at all.
She just keeps talking about evil coming back to Harmony.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's telling Kay that Kay's the evil that came back, that's in Harmony. Like, you're being guided by the evil.
Well, doesn't she, like, not have a soul or something?
She has her soul back.
Oh, she got it back?
Yeah,
Okay.
she got her back. She
Good
got her
for
back a
her.
while ago, a long time ago. No, now she made not a deal with the devil. Teresa did that. What did she do? She casted a spell to create a zombie of Charity.
Oh,
Yeah,
zombie
and-
Charity.
And put real Charity on ice. But now real Charity's out. Zombie's been, for all intents and purposes, vanquished. So yeah, Kay does have her soul
Oh, okay.
right now.
Okay.
So she goes to the hospital room. She gives Charity the flowers. Miguel's in there, of course. His shirt was weird. Naya pointed this out.
It had, like, a weird, like, black stain.
Yeah, it
on
was like maybe grease stains or something. It looked
really
weird.
He looked kind of dirty.
I wasn't
I didn't like it.
I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be like a design or what,
kind of
because it
design
wasn't
is
like it wasn't like they had been through anything harrowing. Because usually when they look kind of a mess, it's because they've been like on an island by themselves,
Yeah.
stranded somewhere. They've been down in a mine shaft, stranded. They've been,
Exactly. Like, they're in a situation where, clothes might get messed up, but
Yeah. They're on a
hadn't been.
mountain, stranded. Like these are real scenarios that have happened.
Oh,
in the
these
show.
weren't just. I know about the island, but I thought the rest of them were just ones that you made up.
No, they got stranded in the mine shaft. They got stranded on that Warlock Island. They got stranded
What are
up
kids
on the
doing
mountain.
in the mine shaft?
What are kids doing in the mine shaft? I don't remember. Truthfully, I don't remember what the fuck they were doing down there. It had something to do with Hecuba. I don't remember what they were doing. It's crazy because I have talked at length about this show and about all of these storylines, and and this is why they can get away with rewriting shit.
That's what I was just about to say. There's so much volume.
Yeah.
They know no one's gonna remember everything.
Yeah, that I'm truly starting to forget like why they were doing certain things. I know that yes, I remember them in the mine shaft. I remember that Miguel kissed Kay in the mine shaft. I do not remember how they ended up down there and why they were there. Something about, and then I remember that Angel came out of a box.
Oh, that useless angel.
No.
Oh.
Well, he turned out to be kind of useless. Well, he turned out to be dangerous.
Oh, vengeful angel.
It was like I think it was like the archangel. Is it archangel or archangel? Do you know?
I think it's archangel.
We are not religious people.
But you said you were culturally Christian.
I am
so
culturally
you need
Christian.
to know this.
No, I don't. All I need to know, I'm culturally Christian, so all I need to know is about Christmas and Easter and praise dancing. That's it. Speaking in tongues.
Those are the only 3 requirements.
I'm culturally evangelical. No, I'm not culturally
Ooh,
evangelical.
I hope not.
Well, I grew up Pentecostal. You probably don't
You
remember
did?
that. You probably don't remember that because
Yeah,
by
I
the
think
time
that was
you
before
were
my time.
yeah, by the time you were like truly conscious, we had like
Truly conscious.
I had definitely put my foot down, and Mama had definitely like kind of moved away from it. But you remember, Granddaddy was like a pastor. He was Pentecostal pastor. Yeah.
he was. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's enough about
That
us
was a
and our family
tangent.
drama. Archangel Michael. That's not even the storyline we talking about.
I done got you off on this whole tangent.
Whatever. Let's come back to the main storyline.
Yes.
The current timeline we're in. Kay comes in, she gives the flowers to Charity. She starts talking to Charity. Miguel leaves the room to get a soda because he's always going to get some sort of beverage. And this is when Kay takes the opportunity to tell Charity, hey, there's something I need to tell you about, me and you and Miguel, and you deserve to know. And then Miguel comes back in and interrupts, pulls her out into the hallways like, you were about to tell Charity that about you and I. And because he can't even say the words.
Fair. I mean, it was
And-
kind of a traumatic experience. for him.
Yeah, actually. And Kay is like, well, she deserves to know that we made love. And he's like, we didn't make love. It's like, what we did was not making love. He didn't give her a different word for it, but I can say
Kind of implied, yeah.
what y'all did, what happened to y'all was that Kay assaulted you.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to you. So anyway, that's where we kind of ended with them this week. She tells him, Charity deserves to know. And he's like, she doesn't need to know. It was just one time. We didn't mean to do it. We were under the influence of evil. And like, and then Kay does tell him, like, everybody keeps talking about evil coming back to town. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the evil is that we are lying? Maybe we're inviting evil by lying.
She might have a point there.
Mhm.
Also, evil never left Harmony. Let's be real.
No, I mean, Tabitha lives here.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
evil lives here.
Evil has taken up residence and
Yeah.
has been here for many hundreds of years at this point.
And I think Miguel said something about she can't know because like the shock might
Oh my God.
I guess make her die of heart failure. I don't know.
It's like she's too weak to know.
and I've had enough of that
yeah.
with the Antonio stuff. So
Antonio, Simone, the whole thing is that is the storyline for everybody.
no
now.
one can hear any bad news ever, or else they'll die.
Or they'll die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's it for Magic. You have anything to add to that before we go?
No, they didn't do nothing.
They didn't do anything. We actually talked longer about that than probably should have.
Probably.
Because shit, we've been talking for 15 minutes. I'm not saying we talked about that for the whole 15 minutes, but it was a solid 10.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to the Teresa, Ethan, Gwen storyline. I still don't think I have any good music for that or any good like cues for this. So, what's this? That's Hecuba. So I guess that could work.
Maybe.
We're moving on to the Teresa, Ethan, Gwen storyline. I'm gonna cut all that out. All right, so moving on to Teresa, Ethan, and Gwen. There's a decent amount to talk about here, but I was glad that there wasn't a lot this week of this. I'm glad they've given us a little bit of a break on this triangle, to be honest. Even though it's like one of my main storylines that I definitely like to talk about the most. But it has been a lot, like with Teresa's execution and everything.
Execution. Wait a minute. She got sentenced to death for what?
Girl, she got sentenced to death and died.
She died?
Yes, they killed Teresa. Okay.
You gotta catch me up on this.
I
real quick.
I am going to catch you up on this. So, remember Julian was murdered?
I do remember that.
Okay.
Murdered. Yeah.
So, nobody knew who did it. And Ivy and Rebecca came up with this scheme to get Teresa to confess to the murder. So they doctored a quote surveillance tape. It was not a surveillance tape. They doctored a tape where it looked like Ethan had shot Julian and put it in her way. So she saw it and she basically tried to she didn't really get rid of the tape. She hid it away. And then she went and confessed to the murder so that Ethan wouldn't get in trouble.
Okay.
And then very, 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 very quickly, she was sentenced to death. Alistair had it so that she was sentenced to death. We watched her execution. They put her to death by lethal injection.
Oh, I was gonna say firing squad.
Yeah, by lethal injection.
Wow.
And then Alistair made them bring her body back to the Crane Mansion and like lay in state at the Crane Mansion. And she kept like getting up. Yeah, like a zombie getting up and like terrorizing like Ivy and Rebecca.
That's scary.
And then we find out later that she wasn't dead. She was Alistair had like done this plot to make it seem like she was dead to make Julian come back to town, because Julian was gone in hiding. He wasn't really dead. He was in hiding and he wasn't going to come back until whoever had shot him was dead or dealt with. So Alistair had like set up this whole scheme with Teresa's body without telling anybody, because he's evil, to get Julian to come back to town. It worked. And at one point they set Teresa's body on fire by accident.
How do you do that accidentally?
They knocked over candles into her casket.
Oh my God.
And so she was just like dead on fire. It was crazy. And then like 5 seconds later, she comes walking through the door. Yeah.
Indestructible.
No, this show is ridiculous.
But
I love
that's
how
what
I love how I said, "Oh yeah," after Teresa's execution.
You
I
said it like it was so normal.
so casually, and then you're like, "Wait,
Wait, you're not gonna speed past you
Yeah.
saying she got executed.
I don't think I have like a record scratch. I have a record scratch. Yeah, it was like that kind of moment, like
Yes.
execution.
Hold the pose.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I said all that to say I'm glad to kind of see other storylines, even though I hated everything this week. It's crazy.
There were a few funny moments though.
I think it's more so that I needed a break from this little storyline, but they gave us just enough this week. It wasn't too much. So let's get into it. So Teresa's working on her assignment from Alistair, because she now works at Crane as a VP of who knows. And Pilar is like giving her shit. And it's crazy because Pilar was just giving Louise shit. All Pilar does all week is give her kids shit. And
It's not fair.
yeah, I mean, we'll get there, but I especially hate the way she's talking to Louise about that whole situation. But I wasn't crazy about the way she was talking to Teresa about this either. So she basically is telling her like, you're working so hard. And she brought her some snacks and something to drink or whatever. She's like, I shouldn't have even brought you this. Then why did you?
Yeah, you can leave. You
She's
can go
like,
home.
I shouldn't have even brought you this because I know that you're only doing all of this just to get Ethan back. Yes, either get on board or leave. Like,
Yeah, no one's forcing you to come up here and bring me snacks and talk to me about this.
yeah, I don't know. So she comes upstairs. She's giving Teresa shit. Teresa's actually doing her job, right? Like she's actually doing work.
She's putting
Sure.
it in the directory or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is she doing, child. So sure, she's doing it like it's part of her plan to get Ethan back. But I don't think there's anything wrong with her saying like, "Oh, Ethan will respect me more for the hard work that I put in. I'm gonna do this job to show Ethan like this different side of me, and try to get him back. You know that I love him. You know who I am.
This is her whole shtick. Like, this is what she does.
her
I don't
whole
know why
shtick.
are you so surprised?
It's her-
800 episodes later, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is exactly. Exactly. As a matter of fact, it's your fault she's even in this mansion in the first place. But I digress. So, Pilar gives her some shit about chasing Ethan. She tells her at one point that she's gonna be damned to hell for all eternity.
Well, you know what? I really did not think about how awful that is. Like,
Yeah.
saying that to your child.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not the first time she said it either. And my thing is, at this right now, Teresa isn't doing anything bad.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna do a job and try and get Ethan back by doing a job.
And now
I could see if she was like trying to pass off little Ethan as Ethan's son or keeping some big secret from him. She's not.
yeah, she's working.
She's working. Yeah, and like whatever. And so Pilar tells her you're gonna be damned to hell for all eternity for trying to get back with the love of my life.
Yeah.
And right now, Teresa isn't doing anything all that bad.
She really isn't.
It's very much teenage girl shit.
That's why I'm glad, like, Teresa finally told her, like, you need to just go to bed.
Yeah, she did.
It's time to go to bed, Mom.
Yeah, she did. She was kinder. She was kinder to her than I think I would have been. Because I mean, you know how much I love my mama, but you also have seen our dynamic.
Yeah.
And if my mama had said that, yeah, how do you think that conversation would have gone?
Not well.
No, she and I would have had a fight.
Yeah,
For
y'all
sure.
would have got into it a little bit.
A lot of it. A lot of it. She telling me I'm gonna be damned to hell for
hell.
all eternity.
For working.
Yeah. So anyway, so Ethan, meanwhile, while Pilar and Teresa are having a conversation in her bedroom, Ethan wakes up in his bed with Gwen. Gwen, who's having like wet dreams about Ethan.
I was wondering if that was like a flashback, a dream, a vision.
I think it was a little bit of like flashback / dream.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyway, she's laying in the bed moaning, and Ethan wakes up and he immediately, of course, is thinking about Teresa.
Yeah, his true love. Not whatever this thing is.
Whatever this is. Whatever he's trying to force this, he's really trying to force this thing with Gwen real bad.
And it's not working.
And my thing is, he should have taken some time. He hasn't taken any time between Teresa and Gwen. And I will say, I felt the same way when he broke off his engagement with Gwen and then started dating Teresa. I was like,
you need to let that marinate
some
for a little
time.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just hop straight to the next thing.
yes, but he go from, well, I'm gonna keep my vocabulary a little more PG since Naya's here with me today.
Scared about what you was about to say.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it. I know you don't want to hear certain things coming from my mouth, so so I'll keep it to myself. But anyway, Ethan wakes up thinking about Teresa's assignment, and he realizes, there's a case that I worked on that'll help her. And he walks past her room and overhears her in there talking to Pilar. So he walks in because he overhears them say something about Ethan, but he doesn't know exactly what they said.
Yeah.
Basically what she was saying is that she was gonna work really hard and Ethan will come back to her. Like she's gonna be able to get Ethan back.
Mhm.
And he comes in and he tells her that he knows about a case that'll help her complete her report, and he's going to the library to go find it for her or whatever. And then when he leaves, Teresa looks at her mom and says, "Look, Mama, see how Ethan goes out of his way for me. He loves me, and one day we are gonna be married." Pilar just says a bunch of very judgmental stuff to her.
For no reason.
Yeah, and something about you and your manipulations. Again, they throw the manipulation word around so casually, and perhaps down the line, Teresa will be very manipulative. At this exact moment, this is not a manipulation.
Yeah, she's just doing things to like make him, but not even make him look at her. Just like
I don't know.
she just wants him to like her.
She has a plan that she's going to give Ethan back what Ethan lost, and that's going to make Ethan forgive her, basically, and get
Yeah.
back together with her. I don't think of that as manipulative.
It's not the same as like a manipulation. Like she has a plan. It's not like she's like trying to control his behavior or anything.
Right. Look, many episodes ago, Teresa locked Gwen in a closet at the youth center. That was a manipulation, right? She locked her in a closet so that she could be alone with Ethan.
Okay, I was wondering like why she did that.
Well, obviously it was for Ethan.
I mean, yeah, but I was trying to see what the. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
She locked her in a closet so she could be alone with Ethan and keep Gwen away from Ethan. That's a manipulation.
Yeah.
This I don't see it. I know other people probably will disagree with me, and that's fine. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they escalate what Teresa's actually doing too soon, right? Like they use more hyperbolic, in my opinion, verbiage for what she is doing than what she's actually doing.
And she's being like pretty upfront about it too. It's not like she's trying to hide the fact that she's doing this to get him back. Like she's very upfront about it too.
Well, I will say she's not being forthcoming with Ethan about the fact that she's doing this to get him back. But what I will also say, is that Teresa has been very clear with Ethan that she wants to be with him, that she wants him back. She multiple times she has said to him, "You love me. I know you do. You
So,
love me."
honestly, for Ethan, it wouldn't be too much of a logical jump for him to be like, "Oh, she's probably doing this because she."
If
wants
he
me back."
doesn't want to be with her, he needs to move out of her house.
Move out of this house. They be acting like there's only like 4 houses in Harmony that you can live in, and you have to pick one.
You have to choose. Yeah, if he doesn't want to be with her, he needs to move out of her house.
I agree,
And if
because
he,
that's so messy.
yeah, it's extremely messy. And he refuses to because he's obsessed with her, because he loves her, and also because he's homeless and unemployed.
Yeah, what happened to this law firm? Like, that's the question I had.
Yeah. He was doing that with Teresa. He was doing that with Teresa. Like, and wasn't Teresa like pushing him to do it? You would know. You wouldn't know the answer to that.
No, because I remember some of the episodes we watched, they were doing like the whole law firm thing. And I remember like, I think it was Teresa that was kind of like pushing him to do it. Weren't they doing it like out of somebody's house?
Her house.
Yeah,
Which
her
burnt down. You weren't here for that. But their house is burned down. So
why do houses keep burning down?
Kay set their house on fire.
To do what exactly? What was her purpose?
So Miguel and Charity were about to have, Miguel and Zombie Charity were about to have sex. And if Miguel had sex with Zombie Charity, he would have died. And so to distract them and to stop it, she set the house on fire instead of just knocking on the door or ringing the doorbell or calling.
So
or-
extreme.
Incredibly extreme.
That's
It was
crazy.
Not only did she set the house on fire, she like set the room that they were in on fire.
All right, you know what? Fine. Why not? Why not just set the house on fire?
So
But
yeah, they were doing his law firm out of her house. Maybe he's still doing the law firm. Somebody write in and tell me. But as far as I know, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any clients except for Ivy. His mom is his only client.
kind of
And Teresa, he was like working for helping Teresa with some shit. But yeah, he doesn't have anything to do.
He needs to move out and get a job.
He needs to move out. He needs to get a job. Like
and start relying on these all these women that he's just floating between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He needs to do something for himself.
Mm-hmm. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps,
Yeah.
Ethan. But anyway, Pilar, she says a bunch of judgmental stuff to Teresa about manipulation and lies and this and that. And then she says, you have tried everything you possibly could to try to get Ethan back, and you still don't have him. It's been one disaster after another ever since your lies were exposed. And that's true too. She's not wrong. You have done a lot to get Ethan back, and you still don't have him. But I get Teresa's point of view is like, you know what? I Goonies never say die. You know what I mean? And she's a Goonie through and through. No.
Actually, though, I'm not gonna lie. Most of the relationships in this show are just full of disaster. So, like, it didn't matter who was gonna be together. There's always gonna be some kind of tragedy.
Yeah, you know what? You make an excellent point. The status quo in this town is disaster.
There is no stable relationship in the show.
Yeah, even the ones that they think are stable aren't stable, right?
Exactly.
Like Sam and Grace. At first, it seemed all great, but now David's in there, and John and Grace is like blowing up her whole life. Even TC also. TC's the only person in that marriage who thinks that their marriage is perfect, right?
Well, we see how perceptive he is.
Oh my God, don't get me started. So you make a great point. All she has seen is disastrous relationships.
Yeah.
Like even her own parents. Martin is gone. Off.
Where did he go?
Where did he go? Right? He's just, it's a disaster. That relationship is a disaster.
Exactly. So that is a terrible, disastrous relationship is normal in harmony. So that is not a valid argument to make.
You are so right. Every single relationship is disastrous. Sheridan and Louise, Charity and Miguel.
God, Sheridan and Louise.
Like literally, all of them are disasters. There's not a good one among. Not a good one among the bunch.
No. Then we got relationships that don't even exist, like Chad and Simone.
It's actually a disaster. Oh God, that's so funny. Good job. That was such a good point. Anyway, Teresa tells her mom to stop worrying and that she's just fighting for true love and fighting for the love that she and Ethan share. This is when Gwen wakes up in her room. She notices that Ethan is gone, and she immediately jumps to the conclusion that Teresa has, quote, pulled something to make him come to her rescue again. And then she says, I am so sick and tired of her manipulations. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick and tired of her manipulations, and I'm gonna put an end to them right now. And so she walks over to Teresa's room. And he overhears the tail end of Teresa telling Pilar, like, I'm just fighting for mine and Ethan's love. And then Pilar leaves, storms out, and then enter Gwen. Gwen enters and is like, you might not listen to your mother, but you're damn well gonna listen to me. No, I'm not.
Why would I listen to you?
Yeah, like
You
you
mean
like you
even
just
less to me?
exactly like you just said. I don't even listen to my own mother.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna listen to you, the bitch I hate the most in this world?
Exactly.
Like, so
Make it make sense, girl.
make it make sense. So Gwen goes into the room after Pilar. She tells Teresa, you need to stop pursuing Ethan right now. It's time for you to understand that your relationship with him is over, and I'm not gonna let you take him away from me. I will stoop just as low as you if I have to. Okay. And again, they talk about Teresa like she has done the most heinous, oh, you're stooping so low. What has she done besides keep things from Ethan? I will say she has kept things from Ethan. That is
Quite
true.
a bit. Yeah.
That is true. She has absolutely kept things from Ethan. But I'll stoop as low as you.
She's
What
making
has
it
she
sound like
done?
Teresa's been like murdering people and burying
Right.
bodies. You
I mean,
know?
the most grand thing that Teresa has done recently, like the biggest thing that Teresa has done recently, is that she took the fall for Ethan. She thought that he was a murderer and she was willing to die for him. And she
Yeah.
did die for him, actually.
Yeah,
Died
and
for his sins.
got set on fire for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's like, are you willing to do that, Gwen? Stoop. Are you, is that how low you're willing to stoop?
I doubt
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So anyway, Teresa tells Gwen that she says, Ethan left your bed to come and help me. What does that tell you, Gwen? And she says, you know, Ethan loves me and he still cares about me very deeply. And then Gwen starts gloating about how
Oh,
she and
God.
Ethan have been making love and having sex. And she tells her, he's helping you with a report. He gave you a book, but look what he gave me. And then she shows her a hickey.
Don't nobody want to see that girl.
Where is my a hickey, honey? Are you 16? A hickey? Okay. He gave you a book, but look what he gave me. This horrific bruise on my chest.
Like, okay, congratulations, girl. He bruised you.
Gross thing. I'm going to have to wear a turtleneck over for the next 2 weeks. Like, Jesus. A hickey is so annoying. It's so annoying to have a hickey. So anyway, she really is not making a great case, but whatever. She's making her point, which is he gave you a book and he gave me a slobbery kiss.
Yeah.
and also other things, you know, sex and stuff.
Sex and stuff.
You know what it is, Naya? I'm being very tame with you. That I'm being more
You're
tame.
trying to hold back. So
I
it's
am.
making
I'm
you-
holding back because I usually say a lot more vulgar things.
I'm gonna have to watch one of these episodes.
So I'm trying to be less vulgar so it doesn't make it awkward between us.
Well, I appreciate you trying not to make it awkward, but in you not making it awkward, you're still making it awkward.
I know.
But it's funny though. It's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, she goes on. Gwen goes on to say, "Your fantasies can only take you so far, Teresa, because this is reality. Ethan made love to me tonight, and you have no idea how fantastic it was. Ethan was." Oh, so she says, Ethan has never had sex with you the way he's had sex with me. And he doesn't take it lightly. It's very much important to him. It's an important part of a loving, committed relationship based on trust. And he's told you over and over again that he can't trust you. So you see, Ethan is committed to me, and you know I'm right, don't you? You know I'm right. You have lost him. And then Teresa's like, oh, I've lost him. I've lost Ethan. And Teresa goes on saying, like, yes, you have lost Ethan. And she goes on and on about how she and Ethan are going to get married. And she says, like, don't worry, we'll invite you to the wedding. As if I will come to that shit show.
Yeah, unless I'm coming to crash it.
I'm not coming to your sham wedding. Although Teresa probably will be at their sham wedding.
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah, just hoping, waiting for
Waiting.
him to be like, I changed my mind.
Maybe he'll leave her at the altar for me.
100%. 100%. You know she'll go, her crazy self will go to that wedding. Speaking of which, I'm wearing my Lovable Lunatic shirt today, which has been discontinued from the store,
Oh,
unfortunately.
no.
Yeah.
So now it's like a limited edition item.
It really is, because someone made an order for it, and the drop shipper that I use, they flagged it for copyright purposes. So I actually made new ones. I'm gonna put up on the store and I ordered new ones, so I'll have a new Lovable Lunatic
Ooh.
shirt soon.
Yay.
But yep, this one, you nobody can get this one anymore.
One of one.
It's not, because I sold like 5 of these.
Oh.
Yeah.
1 of 5.
Yeah. No, I sold like 5 or 6 before they flagged it. I don't know why, but
I don't know.
whatever.
why
I made
either.
new ones. The new ones passed the copyright test now. So
Cool.
whatever. Anyway, so go ahead and get your merch at passionspodcast.com.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, I will say I also made Gwen shirts for Maria for her birthday. I made like
Oh, yeah.
custom Gwen shirts for her, which are not on the store yet, but I'm gonna put those up with the new Teresa shirts too. And I don't know if I had ever announced it, but I did also make for our legal eagle, Karen. She wanted Ivy and Sam merch, and so that merch is on the store already. If you looking for a savvy shirt, go ahead and go out there and pick that up. So anyway, where were we? This wedding.
Wait, is that their ship name?
Savvy,
Savvy?
Sam and Ivy.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So it'd be like Sam and Ivy, Savvy, Sheridan, Louise, Shawise.
Mm-hmm.
I never can. I always say for Chad and Whitney. You know what I said?
What do you say?
Whitney, but that can't be right.
That sounds offensive.
Somebody told me before, like maybe they said Wad, and I was like, ew.
Wad.
Exactly. That's worse than Twitney.
Both of them sound bad. Maybe that's a sign they need to break up.
Well, we're gonna get to that soon. We are going long, but it's okay. All right. So, Teresa responds to Gwen saying all what Gwen just said. So Teresa says, "You know what, Gwen? If you're so sure of Ethan's love for you, you wouldn't be here in my room right now trying to convince me that I don't have a chance with him.
Mm-hmm.
I have you figured out, Gwen. You're not here to boast about Ethan's undying love for you. No, you're trying to scare me off because you're afraid of what I already know. Ethan loves me."
Yep.
Meanwhile, has gone to the library where he finds Julian, who is musing about his what if vision that he had about him and Eve being together, right? And so he actually, this was nice. We're solidly into Julian's like redemption arc.
Oh, he gets a redemption arc?
He does, and we're solidly into it. It started with him with Timmy and their whole like
Their adventures. I wish I could have watched that. That sounds like it probably would have been entertaining.
You still can. It's out there.
Maybe. If you'd watch it with me.
No, I've already watched it. I've seen enough. But yeah, it started with his adventures with Timmy and growing, the Grinch heart growing three and a half times or whatever. And now with Eve and what his life could have looked like, I think that also is kind of spurring him on to try and be the man that I guess he
Would've
feels Eve
wanted.
deserves.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's thinking about Eve and the what he I think thinks is the biggest mistake of his life, which is letting her get away. Julian comes into the office, calls him dad or something, father by accident first, which was interesting. But Julian was like, "No, I get it. We were father and son for so many years." He actually says to him, "Sometimes I have to stop myself from calling you to tell you about some, work thing at Crane." I know it was
It was kind
sweet.
of emotional, yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet. But they talk at first, and he says, "I want to talk to you about Teresa." Julian says to him, and Ethan gets very defensive. He's like, "You don't deserve to talk to me about Teresa after the way what you did to her, And Julian says, "Well, no, I was horrible. I really was a bastard, and I accept that." Like he apologizes.
Yeah, he straight
for
up apologized for it.
He needs to apologize to Teresa.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know if she'll accept it, but he does need to.
He needs to at least apologize.
Yeah. This apology to Ethan, sure, it's deserved, but Teresa deserves the real apology.
Yeah, because she's the one who actually had to go through that.
Yeah. And but then he tells him, "I want to give you some advice, some fatherly advice." Ethan doesn't, he's very defensive. He doesn't want to hear anything Julian has to say, but Julian really is sincere.
Yeah, he's been self-reflecting.
Yeah. And so he begs Ethan to listen to him and says, I'm begging you to listen to some fatherly advice that might change your life forever. And then he tells him, "Don't do what I did. When the time comes to choose the woman you're going to spend the rest of your life with, you must think oh so very carefully because your whole future depends upon it. Don't make the mistake I made. Don't let the woman you really love get away." And Ethan appreciates this advice. He's like, "Thanks, Julian, for the advice. I definitely, was planning on thinking about who I'm going to marry very seriously."
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. This man jumps from one woman back and forth from the same two women. If you really were thinking that seriously about it, you would have just married Gwen before, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But no,
that advice kind of lost on him.
I don't know. Ethan is one of those characters that they do not write explicitly bad, but when you look at their actions, it's like, God, this is not a good guy.
Like the narrative itself doesn't treat him as a villain, but his actions are kind of bad.
Yeah. So, he's actually appreciative of the advice, and he takes the book and he leaves. He actually thinks to himself, it's too bad this Julian will be gone in the morning. This Julian I would have loved to have had as a father and maybe even as a friend. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I think they're opening the door because Julian is changing.
Yeah.
So I think they're opening the door for Julian and Ethan to like really grow and have a relationship again.
Yeah, and that would be nice.
That would be nice. So then Ethan goes back up to Teresa's room and he finds Gwen and Teresa together and he's like, is everything okay in here? They both just pretend like they weren't just lobbing the most horrible insults at each other.
Yeah, they were really going back and forth.
And I don't get this. They both keep this from Ethan and I don't get it, especially on Gwen's part. And whoever I talked to on the last episode said maybe she doesn't want to seem petty to Ethan, and I get that.
Yeah, she doesn't want to look bad. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, I don't know. Say, oh, I came in here because I was looking for you, because she was looking for him. I came looking for you. And Teresa has it in her mind that you are helping her because you are in love with her. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. I feel like that doesn't make you petty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you say it like that.
Yeah, you're just saying what's up.
Yeah, and you're just laying everything on the table so everybody is aware of what's going on. Because one of Gwen's biggest complaints with Ethan is like, oh, you're so blind. You just don't see what Teresa's doing. You just don't see what Teresa's doing. Well, show him.
Yeah.
When she's doing it, and this is a perfect example. This is a perfect time for you to kind of show him. Here's what Teresa's head is
she's
at.
doing. Yeah.
Because he keeps thinking, she keeps saying Teresa's only doing this job because she wants to get you back, and he's like, no, she wants to set a good example for her son. She just wants to work. She just wants to to do honest work. This is a perfect time to say,
to show it.
See, this is exactly what I was telling you. Teresa's doing this to get you back. She's telling me that that you are in love with her and she's in love with you, and that you will be getting back with her.
But instead, you keep complaining about him being blind, but you're also helping pulling the wool over his eyes. So
exactly. Exactly. So anyway, Ethan he has the book or whatever. He gives it to Teresa. He asks her, like, are you good? You need any help? I'm happy to help. And she's like, oh, I think I'll be okay, basically. And Gwen's like, so trying to get him out of that room, right? She's like, okay, great, let's go to bed.
Desperately.
And he's lingering. He's looking back at Teresa. He's kind of dragging his feet, leaving the room. Because one thing that I did not mention in the conversation between Gwen and Teresa, Gwen tells Teresa, Ethan doesn't love you, Ethan loves the work. So, and that might be true, right? We don't know. But she tells her, Ethan doesn't love you. He loves the work. That's why he's so interested in this. He wants to help you, not because of you, but because when he was at Crane, he always loved doing these kinds of things. He always loved putting reports together. He loved his job. And he misses it. And so it could be seen that his lingering is more about the work than it is about Teresa.
Yeah, that could be it. We know it's not, but it could be. It could be, theoretically.
It could be. I actually don't know if he's lingering. I think subconsciously he's lingering because of Teresa. You know what I mean?
But then on like the outside, he's like lingering because of work.
Yeah, but what he will say is like, oh, I just want to make sure this is done correctly, and it's about the work.
Okay, I can see that. I can see the two things kind of being true at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he lingers there, and as they're about to leave, Teresa's like, "Oh wow," and he's like, "What is it?" He turns back around, and she's like, "Oh no, this case is so interesting, and it's perfect. This is exactly what I needed." Blah blah blah. And he comes back, "Yeah, isn't it so cool?" Like, and then they start talking about this stupid case, whatever it is, and he sends Gwen off to bed basically, and is like, "I'll catch you up." And so he goes to bed, or she goes to bed, and he stays behind with Teresa. And so the next morning, we see him and Gwen together, and Gwen asks him like what time he came to bed. I can't remember what he said, but what he was like, well, I was up kind of late with Teresa working on the project report. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Working on the report, but I came to bed at, I don't know, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It was late.
Yeah.
So then they walk by the library. They see Teresa asleep in the library. She's fallen asleep at the desk. They go to wake her up. Ethan's like, Teresa, wake up. Your report is due in 15 minutes. So she wakes up frantic. She's like, oh no, I got the report done. Don't worry. I got it done a few hours ago. She's searching for it on the computer. She can't find it. It's
Of
in the
course.
wrong directory.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Anyway, he finds it for her, and all's well that ends well, really. There's a call from Alistair's assistant that he's waiting on the assignment or whatever, and then she gets a call after sending it, and she's waiting to hear if the report was to Alistair's liking or not. Gwen's waiting to hear that it was garbage. She wants to see Teresa be.
She wants to see her fail.
Yeah, basically. So
have we seen Alistair yet? His face? 'Cause you said
No.
it gets revealed eventually. But,
yeah, we're in 2002. I feel like we don't see Alistair's face until like 2007.
so he's still just an arm right now.
Yeah,
a
he's just
hand,
a hand.
an angry hand.
He's just an angry hand with lots of props. So that's that. You have anything to add to Teresa, Ethan, Gwen?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
I can't believe we spent so much time on that. I'm so sorry. Moving on to Chad and Whitney. Okay, and this is gonna take some time, y'all.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot here.
It's packed in.
There's a lot here. So let's pick up with Whitney. Remember this, they were out. Oh my God. Let me drink some more.
Drink some as well.
Okay. All right. So we're going to pick up with Chad and Whitney. A reminder that they are at this party at the Crane Mansion that Teresa threw for Sheridan and Antonio.
Ugh.
So they're at the mansion. Whitney finds her dad sobbing in a trophy room. Sobbing in a trophy room. And he refuses to tell her what's going on. She's like, Daddy, what's wrong? You're crying. And she said he refused to tell her what's going on. He's like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. What did you need me for? Why are you coming to talk to me? And she tells him, well, I want to talk to you about Chad and Simone and me. And he fully ignores her, ignores what she's talking about. He says, he won't let her talk. I didn't take it all down because it was very annoying. Did you write down any of what he was saying to her?
He was talking about basically like how his father like sacrificed all.
Well, we haven't got not that part. He's talking. In this portion, he's saying something about Chad and Simone, and they're happy, and we don't need to worry about them.
Oh,
sweetheart,
yeah.
don't
I didn't
worry
take any
about
notes
them.
on that either because I was just kind of annoyed.
Yeah, it was very annoying. And he just keeps talking about how great Chad is for Simone and for them to be together. And then he says, I'm going to tell you something that your mother and I have always worried about. And it's how much attention I give you because of your tennis. And then he says, now I think it's nice that Simone has finally come into her own. You could have given Simone attention too.
Any amount of attention.
This was one of those moments where I had to pause the TV and was annoyed because he says, I'm going to tell you something. Your mother and I have always worried about how much attention I give you for your tennis. Why wouldn't you give Simone some attention too?
Yeah, just because she's not a tennis star or whatever. And like Whitney doesn't even care about tennis for real. They claim that she does.
Yeah, they claim that she does.
I ain't never seen her pick up no racket.
Yeah, and she says it to appease him. But yeah, I haven't seen her on the court in forever. And so he just keeps ignoring her. He's willfully being obtuse. He's willfully like ignoring that there's obviously something weird going on between Chad, Whitney, and Simone.
Mm-hmm.
And then Whitney expresses concern that Simone may suffer heartbreak. You know, what about if Simone gets hurt? And TC continues to ignore her. He's saying nothing bad can happen to your sister. I mean, she's young. She's in love for the first time. I mean, things couldn't be better for her right now. Nothing bad can happen to your sister. She literally got hit by a car.
And then got in a car accident.
And he doesn't know about that car accident yet.
That's true.
But yeah, she literally got hit by a car. Of course something bad can happen to her.
And something bad can happen to anybody. What kind of line of reasoning is that? Just because they're young?
And let me say this. Anytime somebody says that in a show, in a movie, in anything where they're like, well, nothing bad can happen now.
Immediate red flag.
Dead.
Somebody is dying very soon.
Very soon.
Same thing happens when a character is like talking to somebody and they're like, oh, you know, I'll see you at specific date.
Dead.
They are not making it.
Especially if the like that scene was very happy, and it's just like they're just so happy with each other, and they're like, oh, I love you, honey. I can't wait to have dinner with you tonight at 7. Dead. One of you is dying.
Dead at 6 p.m. They are not making it.
You're not gonna make it home alive. So anyway, yeah, he's like, nothing bad can happen to your sister. She's in love. She's young. Okay. And then he just continues to ignore Whitney's concerns. Like, she keeps saying, like, but daddy, what about, and he just like cuts her off
to talk about his life. As if anybody wants to hear about that. I don't care.
He does. Because he's just distracted by his own shit.
Because he went to this trophy room to go cry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Ain't nobody tell you to go in there.
Yeah. Didn't nobody tell you to go in there and stay in there once you realize what it was?
Yeah, and start sobbing.
Yeah, and just being just wallowing in self-pity about this life that you think you should have had. But if you had that life, you wouldn't have the life you have now.
Exactly. And the thing is, he is like, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but like, he's so sure that if the whole thing hadn't happened with his knee and Julian, all these trophies would have been his. You could have been a crap player. Who knows? You know, like,
who knows?
Or you could have got injured down the road, or you could have died or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's not how time works.
Yeah. It's not that you would have just because you were good at tennis that you would have been a tennis champion.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just so ridiculous.
It really is.
Unloading all the blame onto Julian.
Yeah. So he tells her, he's like, you know, wrapped up in this tennis bullshit, and they talk about Simone being volatile and just like TC, quick to anger, and then TC starts talking about his own father. He says, maybe that's why I push you, Whitney, I push you the same way my dad pushed me. And
he called it like a family secret.
Yeah,
too,
he says
didn't he?
maybe it's time that I let you in on an old family secret. And that's when he tells her about his father and how he worked 3 jobs and one of them at the country club, and basically he hated to have to see his father be subservient to all these rich white people, but his dad did it for him so that he could have a better life and that he could pursue his dreams of tennis stardom or whatever. And then he talks about the accident. He says that accident was the worst 24 hours of my dad's life. After the accident was the worst 24 hours of my dad's life. And we get a flashback.
Oh, God.
Y'all, I had to stop. I was like, am I really seeing this? So it's TC as a young man and his father. But the young man playing TC was in blackface. I shit you not.
Yeah, he was.
And maybe
we had to do a double take.
Yeah, and maybe he was black, but they definitely used
They darkened him up.
some kind of makeup to darken his skin, and it still wasn't dark enough to be TC, so it was kind of orangish. It was weird.
It
And then
looked
the
so bad.
wig,
Oh my God.
the wig they put on him was insane.
When we watched it, I said, yo, dad working 3 jobs and he can't pay for no haircut.
Right, you can't get you to a barber? Oh my God.
Your dad let you walk out looking like that. He don't care about you.
We stopped for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
because
and then
I was
we
just
even like looked at it on like the smaller screen to really get like a good look.
yeah, because if you watch it on the TV, it's a little spread out. So I put it down on the laptop and was looking at it a little more closely.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know who that actor was.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was black or not.
And like I said, it was probably like an uncredited role.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want credit for that.
No, God no. But
Forget
it looks
that ever
like
existed.
I think, is it Black Like Me? There's a movie. Let me look that up.
Black like me.
Yeah. Did they make a movie out of that? I know they did I know there's a book where this guy like in like the 60s, he this white man dressed up in like as a black man to like see what it's like to live life as a black
This is
man.
so stupid because you said this came out in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
That's so funny because I remember like a year ago maybe there was like this thing going around like on like the news and social media because there was like this author or journalist or something like in Canada who like did blackface because he wanted to like do like a social experiment to see if people would treat him differently because he was black.
Maybe the movie was called Soul Brother. No, that's not it.
Maybe if you just look up
I think it might be Soul Man
Soul Man.
movie 1986. That seems right. Yes. It looked just like that, did it not?
Yes, it did. He looked so weird.
It looked just like this man. If y'all look up the movie Soul Man from 1986 and look at this white man in blackface, they had TC as a young man looking like that.
It was so uncanny.
It's exactly what he looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That wig, like you said.
the whole thing was
the whole fit.
the whole thing was extremely offensive.
It really was.
So anyway, we haven't even talked about what the flashback was about. So in this flashback, TC is getting the bad news from his dad that he probably will never be able to play tennis again. And then he just tells him like, "Pop, I know it was Julian Crane. He did this to me on purpose because he knew he could never beat me. Blah blah blah, whatever." Back in the present timeline, TC's like whining about all of these trophies should have been mine. All of these trophies. So it turns out. So I think a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, we saw him in the trophy room and we were trying to figure out, are these all just all Julian's tennis trophies? It seems that is the case. I was trying to give Passion the benefit of the doubt and say maybe it's a Crane trophy room, so it's just like where they keep their trophies. But apparently this room is
Just Julian's.
filled with Julian's tennis trophies. Apparently Julian was like a prolific tennis champion.
Yeah.
I don't know how he at the time, considering he was like fucking with Eve and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but anyway,
He found the time somehow.
yeah, there's hundreds of trophies in this
that
room.
room was packed with
Yeah.
trophies.
Yeah,
It was kind of ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. So anyway, TC's like, everything in here should have been mine. All of these trophies should have been mine. And then he's like looking at that one specific trophy from the tournament where he had hurt his knee right before, right? And he says, "When you look at this, you see a trophy, but I see a murder weapon." Oh, boo.
my God.
Where's my boo button? I don't know where it is.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I see a murder weapon.
And like the thing is, dude, like this was like what, 20 years ago? Please get
More
over it.
than
30 years ago.
Yeah.
Get over it. Like it's not that deep anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, listen, here's what I'll say. Well, here's what I'll give TC. Is that if I thought somebody had purposefully caused a car accident with me involved, right? Had purposefully, like, I could have died, right? I
Mhm.
might not ever be able to get over that.
But
right?
I wouldn't be at their mansion.
I would not be. Hello? I would not be at their mansion. Yeah.
Keep putting yourself around him.
That's true.
This man that you claim to hate.
That's very true. So I will give TC that's a tough thing to get over.
Yeah.
Especially if you sincerely believe, which he does, that Julian caused that accident on purpose to keep him out of the tournament. Okay. I can see you not wanting to fuck with this person and still being mad about it and not being able to get over it. Maybe go see a therapist, but
He won't go. He wouldn't.
no, my
He
God.
would be the type to like not even believe in therapy.
He won't even let Eve look at his knee. His doctor, who's a physician, apparently the greatest physician in this whole
so
town.
they've gone through their whole marriage and like she hasn't seen his knee.
She's seen it. I mean,
Oh, like
she,
examine it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Weird.
Yeah, he sucks. So, he tells Whitney this is a murder weapon, and then he says, "That's why I push you so hard. That's why it seems like I have a one-track mind all the time. It's because I want you to do what I never could do. Nothing is gonna stand in your way of a tennis career. Nothing at all. Do you hear me?" So, I want to take a moment here and state that TC knows exactly what he's doing. On the last episode of the podcast, we talked about where Eve saying to TC that asking him, saying, "Do you think that sometimes you push Whitney because it's what you want?"
Mm-hmm.
And he told her she was being ridiculous, walked away from her. But now he's telling Whitney to her face, "I push you because I never got to have a tennis career, and you're gonna have a tennis career."
Exactly. And I don't care what you have to say about it.
Yep. I don't care what.
Yeah.
I don't care. This is what we, aka I, want.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And anytime she says anything that isn't aligned with that, he pretends that he can't even hear her.
he pretends he can't hear her, and he lays on the guilt so thick. So the next thing he says to her is, he says, "This is an answered prayer, Whitney, knowing that your grandfather's hopes and dreams won't die along with him. Honey, you can win. You could win every trophy in this room. You're a champion, Whitney. I've known it for years. You'll win Wimbledon, the US Open, the Olympics. Anything you set your mind to, baby, the sky's the limit. Do it for your grandfather, sweetheart. Do it in honor of your grandfather." Oh my God. And then he keeps going. And he says, "I am so connected to you, even more than your sister."
So you're just admitting that you care about Whitney more than Simone. Straight up.
Straight up. "I am so connected to you, even more than your sister. I mean, I love your sister with all my heart. But
Half
with
at
you,
best.
but with you, it's different. I mean, we share the same goals, the same dreams, the same gift, the ones that your grandfather worked and slaved so hard for.
Not
You'll
slaved.
win these trophies for him, won't you, sweetheart?" I hate him so much.
He's so hateable.
He's so hateable.
Why are you putting all this pressure on your daughter to like do the thing that you never got to do? Like, let her live her life. And then you talk about this. Didn't she like mention that like she never really even like yeah. She never even knew her grandfather. And she's like he's like putting all this pressure on her for this dude that she doesn't even know.
Man, she has never even. I'm sorry to this man. I don't know this man.
I don't know this man. Like, y'all had a relationship, but we didn't. So why am I
Yeah.
giving up my whole life for him?
But Whitney takes on the guilt and she says, "Yes, Daddy, of course I will.
Yeah.
Of course I'll."
And you know what? I do have a lot of sympathy for Whitney.
In this moment,
Like
yeah.
in this moment, like she does some stuff later, that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
But I get it, like all that guilt, being pushed
It's
on
hard.
you. Yeah, it's hard,
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
she loves her dad, so
Yeah.
wants to make him happy. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. That's why it's so unfair for parents to lay on guilt trips on their kids.
Mhm.
Really, it's so unfair.
Because they're already in a position like most kids want to like please their parents
Mhm.
and make their parents proud. So
Mhm. And now I feel like I don't even get a choice because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
mhm.
So it was so unfair.
So
He goes on
unfair.
though. He says, "That's my little girl. The only regret I have is that your grandfather never lived long enough to see what a fine young lady you've become. I mean, most girls your age get caught up with some guy and they're not focused on what they need to do. But you're special, Wit. You're so special. You're meant to do great things." Let me just say this.
He's the real manipulator.
He's the real manipulator.
They need to quit talking about Teresa. He's the real manipulator here.
He's the real manipulator here. And also, I didn't love the way this was written, like the dialogue here or it's not even dialogue because she doesn't say anything. It's monologue,
Yeah.
really. Of like, most girls would be. You're special, but most girls would be because most girls would be caught up with some guy. You mean like Simone is?
Yeah, like is that a shot at Simone? There's just so many layers to what he said. Like,
yeah. They're not focused on what they need to do. Okay, so does that mean that you just don't think Simone should be focused on anything?
yeah, like she, like in a universe where she did have something she needed to be focused on, then yeah, being with Chad is bad. But since she just has nothing going for her, then I guess that's okay.
He calls Whitney special. You're special, Whit, because you're not chasing after a boy like your stupid ass sister Simone. You're special.
So mean.
You're meant to do great things.
Unlike your sister, who's meant to just have babies, I guess. Like,
yeah.
that's just awful.
It's so shitty. Oh, it's
and
so shitty.
Why can't somebody do stuff with their life but also like have a boyfriend?
Have romantic love in their life.
Why do those two things have to be separate?
Why are they mutually exclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway,
get
I
it.
don't like him.
No.
Meanwhile, Eve is outside looking for her family, right? When she happens upon Chad, he turns around and she sees him and he's got no face. Because remember, in her vision that she shared with Julian, they saw their son, but their son didn't have a face. And so he turns around, he's a faceless man, and she starts screaming, "No, your face! Your face!"
And I'm not gonna lie, when it happened on the TV, I didn't even register that he didn't have a face because the video quality was so bad.
The video quality was so bad.
So I was like, what is she screaming about?
Yeah,
Just
it's
Chad.
true. Yeah, it was hard to tell that he even was missing a face because everybody's face was all fucked up. Yeah. But yeah, she starts screaming, "Your face!" She freaks out. She passes out. Chad kind of catches her and lays her down. Simone comes running in and is like, "Oh no, what happened?" And then she runs to go get TC. And meanwhile, when she's gone to go get TC, Eve has that same vision that she had when they had the mist. So she's seeing someone steal her baby from the hospital. And then she starts waking up, but she's still very, very delirious. And she's going, "What have they done to my baby? My baby, what did they do? I wish I could have kept them from taking you from the hospital, my baby." And she's looking at Chad and she like calls him her son. And she's like, "My son, my baby." And he's confused. She's confused too, obviously.
Yeah.
But she doesn't realize, she's just out of it. But
Yeah.
she's, calling him her baby, saying he's her son. And then she starts to come to, and she's a little bit confused. And then she starts to come to her senses. And Chad is like, explains what happened to her, that like she just freaked out. And then he says, "You probably were just having a vision like me and Whitney had." And this is when the others come in. TC, Whitney, and Simone all come running in. And that's when they come in and somebody says, others come out and he says strange things have been happening. Oh, Chad. Chad tells her strange things have been happening, and Simone's like, "Yeah, things have been crazy." And she somehow outs the fact that she wrecked that car.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but she
Yeah.
kind of like tried to make it seem like one of the consequences of the strangeness was like her wrecking the car.
Which it kind of was, they had a vision. She saw them together, and then she got in that car and wrecked it. So stupid.
Yeah, she's unstable.
She's deep. Oh my god, unstable is an understatement.
Unhinged.
It's so many words. She's all the unwords. She's undone, unwell, unhinged, unstable. She's
Unloved.
unloved.
Poor Simone.
That's so true. Because don't nobody love her. Chad don't love her. TC don't love her. Whitney loves her.
Okay. You know what? Whitney does love her a lot, because if she didn't, she wouldn't be keeping this whole charade going.
Yeah.
As long as
Whitney
she
loves
did.
her.
Does Eve love her, you think?
Eve, no, you know why I'm gonna say Eve don't love her? Because Eve knows that her daughter is like unstable, unwell, and she won't do anything about it.
And you are a doctor.
Exactly.
Refer her to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Refer her to somebody. Oh, that's so funny. So anyway, she like ends up outing the fact that she wrecked that car and why. And then TC asks Whitney why the vision would have upset her, right? Because what Simone says is, oh, well, I wrecked the car because Chad and Whitney had a vision of me and Chad being married and Whitney being a great tennis star, but she was still single. And
Yeah, I don't like the way she said that.
I didn't like it either. And it upset Whitney, and Chad was like comforting her basically. And I took it the wrong way, and that's why I got in the car and wrecked it. And TC is like, "What? Well, Whitney, why would that upset you? I can see that happening. I can see Chad and Simone together, and I can see you as a tennis star. Why would that upset you?" And we don't get any. There's no answer to that. It just we shift focus to the car,
Yeah.
right? And TC says to Simone, "Show me where this car is. Show me that. Let me assess the damage." Right. So they head off to look to go to the car and go to the crime scene.
Yeah, because it
And
is a crime.
It is a crime. And Eve questions Whitney and Chad separately because Eve has continuously held on to this belief that Chad asked to date Whitney. They were there because it happened. That's what happened.
Yeah, Eve isn't crazy.
And
yeah.
they were she was under the impression that the two of them were gonna start dating. So she's confused by the fact that Simone is now
somehow
that
Simone
she's
and Chad are in a relationship.
with Chad. Yeah. So she questions them separately about what Simone saw in the vision or what Simone said. So sorry. She questions them separately about what Simone saw between Chad and Whitney. And she says, "We need to clear this up. Whitney, I don't want any secrets in our family. They just get bigger and become bigger problems later. So seeing you with Chad almost cost Simone her life tonight. I think that was hyperbole. She was fine." And she says, "And I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. I'm asking you if we could settle this once and for all. Do you have feelings for Chad? Are you in love with him?" She asks her outright.
She's giving you an out.
And then they get interrupted. TC comes calling for Eve. So Eve says, "Hold that thought. I'll be right back." And so she goes over to check out the crime scene as well. Whitney's conflicted on what to do for some reason.
Like, girl, this is the easiest decision ever. Although, now that I think about it, hearing you say it back, it is kind of funny that Eve is talking about, I don't want any secrets in this family.
Oh, well, yeah. But I think that the reason she's saying that is because she does have secrets.
Yeah, and she doesn't want Whitney to have that same burden.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fair. It's just kind of funny to think about because, girl, you
the
got
master
some
of
skeletons
secrets
in there.
The
in that
master of
closet.
secrets.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so she goes off. Whitney's conflicted for whatever reason. Chad doesn't understand it. I don't understand it. Yeah. And he tries to convince her to like take the out. Let's tell your folks right now. And we can lay it all out on the table.
Yeah.
So then everyone comes back. Eve does not let the thing rest, right? She's like, "Okay, I need to ask you." So Eve poses this kind of question to Simone because there's conversation around like what had happened, right? And she says, "Well, what if it really was what you thought it was, right? What if Chad and Whitney were a couple?" And then she looks at Whitney and says, "When Simone walked in on you and Chad, was there something real going on between you? What are your true feelings towards him? Are you in love with Chad? We need the truth. Are you in love?" And then Whitney thinks about that dumbass guilt trip that TC laid on her about her dead grandfather, and the tennis and all of that bullshit. And she says, "Mommy, Daddy, Simone, the love of my life is tennis. Just tennis."
That made me so mad. And what a corny line.
Yeah.
The love of my life is tennis.
Yeah. The love of my life is tennis.
And it's so funny because since I haven't seen that much of Passions, those moments do get me
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, maybe they're finally going to say it. Maybe they're finally going to say the thing they need to say that we've been building up to for all this time.
Yeah, you kind of got excited. You thought it was gonna
Yeah,
something
I
real
got
was about to
excited.
happen, and
thought
I
it
was
gonna
like,
be real.
and I was like, oh, sweetie.
So, question: when there is like when they finally do like say the thing or whatever, like how are those moments different?
Usually, it's nobody says the thing. Usually, it explodes in some way. We
Aw.
find out in a way that it's not somebody coming clean.
Oh, it's not like a conversation.
Yeah,
it's just
it
somebody
gets
finds
exposed.
out.
It's often something has gotten exposed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not any of these people telling the truth.
That makes sense because if they were to tell the truth, then that would just resolve the situation. But it exploding gives you opportunities for more drama.
Exactly. It's
So,
more dramatic that way.
That makes sense.
I will say I do not remember how we settled this Chad and Whitney thing. And I was so frustrated today because I was like thinking about the fact that we have been doing this with Chad and Whitney for so long, and it's just a
We're going in
constant circle.
circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going in circles because at least with like the other storylines, like there's new elements that get added, things
Yeah.
like that. But like this is just like the same conversation over and over again. I know it's not gonna end this way, but I hope it ends with Chad just leaving both of them.
That's what oh my God. Today I was like, oh, he needs to just leave this town.
He
frankly.
really does. He needs to get out of here, live your life.
Yeah.
These two girls, they're crazy.
Yeah, go to New York like you were planning, or go back to LA. I get it. Like the reason that he's still in Harmony, one of the reasons he's still in Harmony is that Teresa gave him use of the Crane like recording studio.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
so-
Yeah.
So he does have that, but
He can still break up with them though. Shoot. Ugh.
I agree. So anyway, she says the love of my life is tennis, just tennis. And then Eve gives her another chance.
Yes, another chance just in case. Well, maybe she didn't hear it right the first time.
She says, are you sure that tennis is the only thing that means anything to you? Are you sure that you don't love Chad?
Is that your final answer?
She says, honey, tell the truth. Don't be afraid. Right. Is this your final answer? Don't be afraid, sweetheart. And don't care what anybody else thinks. Just tell us, are you in love with Chad? I will say, this is a moment that I really appreciated Eve for as a mother, because she can see it. She
can
knows
see it.
what's going on.
But she doesn't want to like blow it up. She wants to try to make it to where Whitney comes forward on her own. And it's telling her, you're safe. We're not going to punish you for this. We just want to know the truth.
Yeah.
But Whitney is too
She's
caught
too
up
scared,
in
too cowardly to
she's
tell the
too-
truth.
She's too scared. And the thing is, yeah, Simone is unstable. Yeah, Simone's probably going to crash out when she finds out. But she'll get over it eventually.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
My thing about that is, especially in this moment, it's like we're all here together, right? It's me, Eve, TC, her parents are here. Even if she doesn't want to be with you, they're here to pick her up and pick up the pieces. It's kind of their job.
Exactly. Like we'll get through this.
Yeah. I gotta get through this.
But if we just, and the thing is, the longer she lets this fake relationship continue, the worse the fallout is gonna be.
It's
you
so
know?
horrible. It's already pretty bad.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And she's just letting it get worse.
Yeah. And so when Eve is like pushing Whitney to tell the truth, TC like interrupts her and says, Eve, leave the girl alone. She's already told you how she feels. Whitney doesn't have time for boyfriends. If she wants to go all the way in tennis, she doesn't have time for boyfriends. And then he says, sweetheart, you love the game, don't you? This is your dream, just like it was mine, right? And Whitney says, well, you're right, Daddy. I love tennis, and I'm not in love with anybody.
Like, who was talking to you, TC? This is between Eve and Whitney. But then he just gonna put himself into it because he was scared that Whitney might actually say something that he don't agree with.
That's exactly right. I think
Mhm.
you're exactly right. I think he really has been laying it on very thick with Whitney and making a clear decision to say, you know, there's no way you're going to be able to achieve these goals with a boyfriend. Boys just get in the way, and you're focused on tennis, and tennis, you love tennis.
And it's so crazy because, I mean, I'm not a sports person, but there's so many different like accomplished athletes who have wives, husbands, families, kids. You know, it's like you don't have to just be this lonely
Yeah.
tennis player.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
He sucks.
He really
I
does
really can't
Oh,
stand him.
brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah.
I really cannot stand him.
I can't stand him either. The more I think about it, the angrier I get.
So now, you know who else is angry? Chad. As he should be.
As he should be. I'm with Chad on this.
Chad is pissed. Later on, he and Whitney are left alone while something about the car, probably, I don't know, with TC, Eve, and Simone, they go off somewhere else. So Chad and Whitney are left alone, and Chad demands an explanation from Whitney as to why she why she didn't tell the truth right then when she had the perfect opportunity to do so. And they have discussed at this point that they're ready to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had discussed it.
Yeah, and then you betrayed that by continuing to lie.
And
Mhm.
so she explains her reasoning, saying that, you know, first she talks about Simone, then she says, well, it's not just Simone, it's also my dad and my grandfather and tennis. And then he tells her, you know what? I'm tired of this. It's over between us. Yeah. Yes. It's over. He says you had the perfect opportunity and you put your dad's and your grandfather's dream of tennis glory before me and before our love. He says to her, she says to him, like, it's not that simple, it's complicated. He says, no, it's not complicated. It's very simple. Either you love me or you don't. Either you want to be with me or you don't. You made your choice. So it's over between us.
Exactly. And I loved that little stray that he shot at Louise and Sheridan. He was like, we could have been a real couple, not sneaking around like Louise and Sheridan.
Yeah.
I was like, true.
He's like, I don't want that. We're seeing what they're doing. We don't want that.
And that sucks. Like, you know, we're gonna get into it later, but yeah, this dynamic is awful. Like,
yeah, this whole thing is awful.
yeah. So I don't blame Chad for not wanting to be like that.
No, and I don't blame Chad. He doesn't deserve this. He deserves better. He deserves more.
He really deserves better because he's not a bad dude.
And now it's like, what? I'm supposed to continue to pretend to be in love with your sister? Like, I'm gonna pretend to be in a
And
relationship
how
with your
far
sister?
is this gonna go?
Exactly. Who was I on the last time with? I cannot remember because it's been 2 weeks. But whoever the last person was, I think it was Karen, was like, what is the end game?
Yeah, what is the end game? Like, I'm gonna be married to Simone and have kids and sleep with you on the side? Like, what?
Yeah, what is
this
it that
gonna
you want
be?
here?
I don't know. Yeah, she's not thinking that far ahead. And the thing is, like I said, I have sympathy for Whitney in this situation, but it's gone too far.
It's gone way
And
too
you've
far.
had multiple chances to like get this all rectified, get it all, you know, figured out, and you just been too scared to do it. And it's not like it would be different if there was like a reality in which maybe Whitney would be afraid like that she's gonna be physically harmed or something like that if she says the truth. Then that would make the situation a lot different. But I mean, yeah, TC's a manipulator, but I don't think he would like put his hands on her or
No.
anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna suck, but just say it.
Whitney is a people pleaser. And she really wants to please her parents badly,
Mhm.
particularly TC.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't want him to show any displeasure in her at all whatsoever.
But the thing, go ahead.
I was just going to say she just doesn't want him to ever be disappointed in her.
Mhm.
But that's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And the thing is too, like, okay, fine. If you want to like throw your life away for your dad, so be it. But don't drag Chad into it. Break up with him if he didn't break up with you first. Like, why do you like you want to have all these different things? Like, you want to have Chad, but you also want to keep a relationship with TC and like keep him happy. But these two things are like opposed to each other. You can't have both.
Yeah. Can't have your cake and eat it too.
And it's not even a good cake. This is a pretty gross cake.
This little tennis cake. I'm not crazy about it. Dry.
Grass clippings.
Very
on it.
dry, this tennis cake.
Yeah, very dry.
Okay, because dry, shrivel up. Do not want this cake. Filth.
Do not.
Okay. So yeah, he's pissed at her. And she just continues to make excuses about TC and Simone. And Chad says, you don't want to hurt your father. I get it. But what about me? Is hurting me okay?
And that's a good line.
He says, look, Whitney, all I know is you didn't have to deny our love. You could have told Simone the truth. You could have told TC that you're going to continue to pursue your tennis career, but you're also in love with me. You could have had it all, but you chose not to. You chose to cut me out of your life.
Fair.
Yeah. What's that? Didn't we almost have it all? You don't know that. That's okay.
Wait.
You don't know
who's
it.
by?
Guess.
Well, I don't know. That's why.
Didn't we almost have it all?
Whatever. I don't know.
The nights we held on to the morning.
You had to get one in
there. You really don't know?
I don't.
It's one of my favorites, so you should be able to guess.
It's one of your favorites.
One of my favorites, but doesn't the song sound kind of old? It doesn't sound
It does sound kind of old.
It's one of my favorites.
One of your favorite what?
Singers.
Oh.
Didn't we almost have it all?
Beyonce? I don't know. She's your favorite.
I said she's one of my favorites, and it's an old song. I guess you think all Beyonce songs are old, but it's old in my mind. It's old. It's old to me. None of Beyonce's catalog is old to me, really.
So this song came out in like what?
The 80s.
Oh.
Whatever. It's Whitney Houston. I don't know why you wouldn't guess Whitney Houston. Do you not know who Whitney Houston is?
I do know who Whitney Houston is.
Oh, okay.
But I just haven't heard that song. Or at least I haven't heard it enough to like put that together.
Yeah. Anyway, they
You
almost
had
had it
to
all.
get one.
They could have had it all. You know what? I should have done this. We could have had it all. You know that song.
I do.
Okay. Rolling in the deep. I'm singing it a little high. But do you not know who sings that either? You know who sings Rolling in the Deep.
Why are you always quizzing me? I don't know.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark.
I mean, yeah, I've heard the song before. I can't place the artist.
Oh my God, it's Adele. All right.
Oh, see, I would never guess that.
That's crazy.
I mean, I know if you said Adele, I'd be like, yeah, I know who Adele is. And if you started singing the song, I'd have been like, yeah, I know that song.
That's an Adele song.
But
that's an Adele song would not cross your mind.
Yeah, it wouldn't have connected. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, Chad says to Whitney, we could have had it all. You're gonna wish you never had met me. He said, we rolling in the deep, baby. We could have had it all.
They could have had it all.
But you chose to cut me out of your life.
You chose to.
And so this is when Simone and TC find them talking and ask them what's going on. But Chad, instead of like blowing it all up,
he should have.
Yeah, he should have. He says, oh, we were just arguing about a gift that we were going to get for you for college, for starting
going to college, yeah.
Or something. It was stupid
How
as shit.
old are they?
Well, Simone is about to turn 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, later, Chad reiterates to Whitney again that it is over. Mm-hmm. He tells her it's over.
Just in case she didn't get it the first time.
Mm-hmm. And I believe he leaves. He goes to the studio. Julian comes outside at one point because he's, trying to get some air. He's going to go for a drive. And he sees his car.
Totaled.
And he exclaims, good God, what happened to my car? My garage! Yeah, he's like upset. And then TC hears him and walks with Simone over to talk to him about it. And he explains that Simone did it. Julian is livid. He's so upset. He threatens to have Simone arrested. They argue about the cost of everything. TC says like our insurance will cover it and we'll pay you back. And Julian's like, on your teacher salary? And
so rude.
it was so rude. He was like, do you know how much this costs? He was like, this car, you could never afford this on your, like, in 1,000 years, basically.
1,000 years.
It was ridiculous. TC's like, well, not on just my teacher salary. My wife too. She's a doctor. And Julian's like, well, I'm on the board of the hospital where your doctor wife works. I know what she makes, and I assure you, you can't afford the repairs.
He be saying some stuff. He about to say some more stuff.
And actually, I was wrong. I said Chad left, but Chad hasn't left yet.
Yeah, Chad is still there.
Because Chad did something that cracked me the fuck up.
Yes, Chad is very important here.
So, Julian is like going on and on about like the expense, and at one point, they're arguing back and forth, and Julian says, "What is wrong with you people?" And they do, "You people." Chad like starts taking off his suit jacket.
He was getting ready to get active. That was funny.
Yeah, he was activated for sure. You people, what the hell? And Julian was like, I didn't mean it in any racial way. I meant, you people, the lower classes.
Yeah, like, I'm not racist. I'm just classist. Like, okay, like, that's any better.
And so they go back and forth for a little bit, and then Eve comes back, and at this point, Simone is like frantic. She's having like a panic attack, which understandably so. She thinks she's going to jail.
Yeah.
And she's like crying, and Eve tells her, honey, you're not going to jail. Don't worry. Like, Julian is not, I assure you, Julian's not going to call the police on my child, right? Basically. And Julian does change his tune. Like, not seemingly out of the blue, but we all know it's because,
where it's coming from.
Yeah, we all know it's because he has a soft spot for Eve, and he thinks about, that what if vision of him and Eve, and so he says that don't worry about it, he'll take care of the repairs, and he leaves, and everybody's like wondering like what made him change his tune.
Yeah, because it was very abrupt.
But TC, rightfully so, because I felt the same way. I'm taking the freebie. Let's go.
Yeah,
right?
let's go. I'm not trying to investigate that. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, don't need to look this gift horse in the mouth.
Exactly.
Right? And so, yeah, they leave, and that's really basically the end of that. I will say I'm gonna go ahead and loop in the little bit of troubled marriages we have here, because the very next day, Julian is like listening to, Julian. Oh, not the next day. I do want to note that at one point they heard that tape playing.
Oh my God.
From Julian's library. Like, Simone and TC heard the tape playing of Eve singing, and TC still can't recognize the voice
of his wife,
of his own wife. And Simone also is like, that voice does sound familiar. And then Eve suspiciously runs off frantic, and then goes in the house, takes the tape, and destroys it.
Honestly, she didn't even have to do all that, because TC was never going to recognize her voice. It didn't seem like he was getting there.
I know. He's an idiot. He's a moron.
He was like, where have I heard this sound before?
And that's how they had missed each other. That's where Eve was coming back from when Julian came outside, because he was listening to that song, and then he was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get some air. He left it playing. And meanwhile, outside, they were talking about hearing the music. So Eve went inside, so they kind of missed each other. And so then she comes back, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the next day, Julian talks to Ivy at one point. I just want to make note of something horrible he said to her. But it shocked me and cracked me up.
It was very shocking.
It was one of those things that it shocks you so much that it makes you laugh out loud, you know?
Yes.
Because that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say.
Very
so anyway,
out of pocket.
Basically, I can't even remember what they were kind of going back and forth about. They were, exchanging little barbs, bantering. And then he says to her, anything to raise the spirits of a cripple.
And then he just gets up and leaves.
I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Anyway, then he goes to the hospital. where Eve is having a conversation with Grace. And she tells Grace about all the hoopla that happened at the party, about Simone crashing the car and how um, Julian gave her a break,
Mhm.
basically. And Grace says to her, "Do you think he wants something from you in return?" Basically. So yeah, they're setting up this whole like Julian pursuing Eve romantically thing because he has decided. I think he's decided to get her back.
I think he has too, because when they were talking and he was just like standing like in the corner talking about my sweetie.
Yeah,
Like,
my
I was-
sweet Eve.
my sweet Eve. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, he wants her bad.
I think he's gonna try to get her back.
He got it bad for her. So that's it for that. Now we're moving on to Sheridan and Louise.
Oh, is that their theme?
It's it's the blum blum music that's what Eric calls it because it's like the cue for them doing romantic stuff, like sexy stuff, really. So
Okay, I see.
so we use it for this, but there's no good blum blum. Well, they are in the hot tub for some of this.
Yeah, for a little bit. They take
Yeah.
a quick dip.
There's some blum blum. There's a little blum blum.
A little blum blum.
Yeah. So anyway, Sheridan and Louise, we're almost done here. Truthfully, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this.
Because it made you so angry. I feel like you're gonna fly into a rage again.
I know.
Talking about Antonio. Should I even like mention his name? I feel
right.
like-
He who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Okay, so we pick up this week. Everybody's at the cottage, and let me paint the scene and the characters. It's Luis, Beth, Edna, Pilar, Sheridan, and Antonio are all at the cottage. Was Hank there? No. I
No,
don't
Hank
think so.
wasn't there.
And they're talking about these visions because a reminder that Antonio got all upset and almost died last week. I wish he would have.
For real.
Passed out because he saw Luis and Sheridan together, like in an embrace, and then he accused Luis of basically pushing in on his woman and making the moves on her and cheating on Beth and all of this. He called him like a bastard, and he said some really nasty things to
Yeah,
Luis.
he was really rude. Well, I don't know. But
He
No.
was. No, you're right. He was. Anyway, so but the way we got to the resolve of that is that they talk about those visions and that they were hugging because of the visions of some bullshit. Who gives a shit? Honestly,
who is like, where are these visions coming from?
Hecuba and the green smoke. Don't worry
Oh,
about it.
Okay.
It's none of it was real. None of it was canon, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It's just a
It
way
only-
to spur these characters to do things.
That's exactly right. It's just a plot device to make us understand why they're about to make some of the choices they're about to make,
Mhm,
right?
Because they saw it in a vision.
Yeah, because they saw something in a vision. So anyway, I'm getting sleepy. Anyway, they're talking about this and whatever. Beth takes Edna to the side and threatens her and tells her to keep her mouth shut because, of course, Edna, Mrs. Wallace, her mom, is talking about, basically exposing the whole lie. And Mrs. Wallace says to her, may lightning strike you dead for your nasty mouth, and Beth says to her, well, after what I've been through, a bolt of electricity to the head would be a welcome change. And you know what? That was like one thing that Beth said that I was like, I get that. She said it and I was like, can relate.
After everything, you know what? It would be a nice change of pace.
I said relatable, Beth. Relatable. So anyway, Antonio he just continues to make everybody very uncomfortable, doesn't pick up on the cues in the room that everybody's uncomfortable and just shifting their eyes back and forth and can't make eye contact with him.
And he just doesn't notice, which makes it worse.
Yeah, and he's just talking about how he and Sheridan are going to have this wonderful life and get married. And then he apologizes to Louise for accusing him of cheating with Sheridan. Everybody, again, is clamming up and looking real guilty. And he talks more about them having a wedding and Luis being the best man at his wedding. Although before they were talking about having a double wedding. Which one is it? I guess, you know what? He's got brain damage, so maybe he doesn't remember. He talks about Luis being the best man and that Oh, and I want you and Beth to be the godparents to any kids that me and Sheridan have. It's like, well, we haven't agreed to that. So anyway.
Getting a little ahead of yourself there, buddy.
Yeah, a lot ahead of yourself.
Yeah, you're not even gonna live that long.
Sheridan's like, I need to go get the pills for you that Dr. Russell gave for you for your headaches or some bullshit. So she goes to the bedroom and Louise at one point, Louise is like listening to Antonio talk about like marrying Sheridan and having kids and all of this. And also, I want to say this, actually. I think this is another reason why I find Antonio so incredibly off-putting.
Why?
The only thing he talks about is Sheridan and marrying Sheridan and how great Sheridan is and how perfect that is the extent of his conversation all the time.
That's true.
And so that is it's just annoying. It's just frustrating. It's
like you're not adding anything to like the story. You're just talking about how much you love this lady who like is so uncomfortable by your presence.
You've been gone for what, 15 years? You don't have anything else to talk about. You can't
your travels.
How you don't have any questions for your family. You don't want to talk to them about what they've
you don't
been
want to catch up.
But the only thing he ever talks about is Sheridan and the life that they're gonna have together. That's it. That's the only thing he ever fucking says. Sheridan's so beautiful. Sheridan's so great. Me and Sheridan, we're gonna have a lovely life together. If another man ever even looked at her, I'd kill him. I'm so glad I'm so glad her fiance's dead. Like I think that's what it is. That's part of it. Is that he doesn't ever talk about anything else but Sheridan.
Just Sheridan. Like, how are you going to talk about having a life with Sheridan? You don't have a life. His whole life is just talking about how great Sheridan is. If he was a real person, I would be so irritated by his existence because you can only talk about your fiance who seems to hate you.
Who seems to hate you and you haven't picked up on it.
Yeah, you're stupid.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that drives me crazy about Antonio is that every single conversation is about Sheridan.
Yep.
Everything that comes out of his mouth.
Even if it doesn't even make sense, he's going to find a way to relate it to Sheridan.
At least Luis like brings up conversation about Teresa sometimes, and sometimes he's talking about Antonio. Sometimes he's talking about Sheridan. Sometimes he's talking about Beth. Sometimes he's talking about Martin. He talks about Martin a lot. Like he at least there's some diversity to the conversation starters that he has.
Yeah.
But with Antonio, it's just he's so irritating because he's that fucking person who all they want to talk about is their fucking boyfriend or their fucking girlfriend. That's all they want to talk about.
You get heated.
I hate him. I hate him so much. Oh, that's not the right one, but that worked too. But I hate him so much.
Brother, this guy stinks.
He's
terrible.
So
I can't
annoying.
blame you.
He's so irritating. God, he's so irritating. Like, why is everything you say just you gushing about this woman?
Why would anybody want to hear about all that? Get a journal. Get a diary.
Get a journal.
Write poetry. Make art. Like,
oh,
because at least that's like
he needs a hobby.
He needs a hobby.
He needs a hobby bad because Sheridan is his hobby, and I hate that.
I would say read a book, but he probably can't read.
He got the brain damage.
Yeah.
Audiobooks. So anyway, I really went off on a tangent, but I said all that to say Sheridan goes off to the bedroom to get his pills. And because he's being so fucking annoying and talking about Sheridan, Luis gets fed up and is like, I'm going to go help Sheridan find the pills. And so he goes into the bedroom and just immediately starts making out with Sheridan.
He has to rectify this.
Yeah. He has to prove to himself that what Antonio is saying is not true.
Yeah.
Right. And so he goes and gives himself a little palate cleanser by making out with Sheridan. And then they just debrief, download about what's going on, and then they go back and forth about telling Antonio the truth, which they were going to do like last week.
Like that was the move last week that they were going to do that.
Yeah, last week Edna had kind of convinced them that they needed to tell Antonio the truth and then kind of started to, but then I don't know, he got a headache or some bullshit. I don't know.
Let him have a headache.
Anyway, they go back and forth about telling the truth. Eventually Sheridan says, I just don't think we should see each other anymore. I need my record scratch. Bitch, what?
Yeah, that's wild.
That was crazy. I just don't think we should see each other anymore, Luis. And then he's like, "Ooh, you don't love me anymore? You don't want to be with me anymore?" And she's
What
like,
are
no,
you
no, no, that's
talking
not what I
about?
mean. I mean, for the time being, I think it's just too dangerous. I mean, we almost got caught tonight. It almost killed Antonio seeing us together.
If that's all it takes, then he might just have to die.
He might just have to die. Truly. I mean, it's not fair. It's actually not fair to Antonio.
Yeah.
So anyway, she says I just don't think we should see each other for the time being. She says, tonight could have killed him, and the fact that he didn't die, I think might have been a warning from God. Oh, Sheridan, come on now.
Come on.
Please
now.
be fucking for
What
real.
warning. God is trying to kill Antonio.
Yes, if anything, y'all are standing in the way of God's plan.
Exactly. Y'all are directly going against God's wishes by keeping this wretched creature alive.
You're going against God's will because it was God's will to give him this illness.
Exactly, because this crazy mystery illness that's like gonna like, because like what do they say? He has like a couple months left to live at best.
Yeah. And so,
And you also said that he doesn't know that he's sick, right?
right,
Which is a big question for me, because I'm like, how are they treating him if they don't even, like, if he doesn't even know that he's sick? Like, how does that work?
Your guess is as good as mine. They're sneaking him pills. I don't know.
Sleeping pills.
Yeah. So okay. So, what were we talking about?
I think the last thing I remember you saying is Luis had to like rectify the situation by making out with Sheridan.
Well, that was a while ago. We done talked about other stuff since then.
We have.
Yes. Wake up,
Oh.
girl.
I'm
Okay.
up.
So anyway, it's about the warning from God. So she says, I think the fact that he didn't die, it was a warning from God. Like, we could have killed him tonight, but we didn't, and that was a warning from God. And as we have just stated, you should let God's plan play out.
Yeah, you should
right?
just let nature take its course.
Because he God gave him the illness.
Yeah.
And
this terrible, untreatable illness.
Yeah. God has given him this illness where if he gets bad news, he'll die.
And
so,
and this is Harmony. Bad news happens all the time.
Yeah, well, that's life too. Like,
yeah, that's true. That is life too, but it seems to be heightened here. And the bad news is like incredibly crazy. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, your dead girlfriend got set on fire. Like, that ain't nothing I never heard.
Yeah, it's the facts of life, man.
Yeah.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. You ain't never seen the facts of life, have you? Nope. Nah, you haven't. That's okay.
No, I said no. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's okay. I used to love the facts of life.
What's
anyway,
it about?
It's about these girls that live in a they go to a boarding school, and they live together in this house with Mrs. Garrett, and just the things that happen to them.
Sounds like a cute
It's a little
show.
sitcom. Yeah.
Oh, it's a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I was about to say, it's kind of like something, but you would not even.
What's something?
I was going to say it's in the vein of like Different Strokes, but you've never seen Different Strokes. Yeah. So never mind. I guess you could say it's kind of like Jessie. Did you ever, you watched Jessie?
Yeah, I watched.
Hey, Jessie.
Yeah, I watched some Jessie. Yeah.
Although those kids were siblings, so it's not the same.
They were?
Yeah.
Were they all siblings?
They were all siblings. They were adopted.
Oh, they were adopted. I was
Yeah.
about to say, that doesn't make sense. But
Yeah,
no,
she was
okay.
their nanny.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Anyway, so they're interfering in God's plan, and she tells Luis, Sheridan tells Luis, I love you with all my heart. I just don't think that we should see each other for the time being. Basically, we're just gonna wait him out. Okay, we're just gonna wait him out.
How is that like morally upright?
That's what I'm saying. How is that the right thing to do? How do you think that is like
Waiting around till someone dies and then immediately getting together? Like,
and actually technically being together
actually,
throughout,
I've been together the whole time, just not like, I guess not hiding it anymore now that he's finally dead.
Yeah. not keeping it a secret. So anyway, Antonio, meanwhile, in the living room, sorry, I said the wrong thing. Anyway, Luis fights Sheridan on this, but she remains firm. She's like, this is how it's going to have to be. And then she goes back to the living room. And then Antonio is trying to get everybody to leave. He's like, all right. This has been cool. This has been fun. Bye, guys. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's been real, but I kind of want to sleep with my fiance.
Yeah, really. And eventually they all leave. There's some plot around the pills that she has for him, and that she says Dr. Russell gave him for headaches, but we later find out are sleeping pills. She doses him.
And I remember you were talking about that, and you were happy that that's actually
yeah. I was like, for once on this show, they actually used the drugs correctly, right? Like because I was like, the only thing she can do is drug this man at this point, because he was just she was trying to ditch his ding dong, and he would not let her. She was ding dong ditching.
He could not keep his hands off of her, and she was so uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, the entire
so
time.
obvious.
Yeah, and so there's some back and forth with like some romantic food. There's a dinner that comes in. It doesn't matter. I don't fucking care. Basically, he says I can't take these pills without food, and then he tries to have sex with her because he's like, well, I can't take the pills, and then she's like, well, that's where you're wrong, because I actually ordered dinner for us. And then one of the maids shows up with dinner, and it turns out he actually called up to have the dinner changed to some kind of romantic dinner for two, and whatever. And he does take the pills. He finally passes out after really, really trying to have sex with her. Bad.
Yeah. He was determined.
Yeah, but and it's like, don't you see? You're not getting an enthusiastic yes. You're not getting a yes at all.
Yeah. You're getting an awkward stare.
As we have discussed, though, on the show, Antonio really, consent doesn't matter to Antonio.
Consent does not matter.
At all. Because he's not getting any consent from her. He's not. Her body language isn't saying I consent. Her mouth isn't saying I consent. In fact, there have been multiple times where she's flat out said no to him, and he persists.
Yeah, and that's just disgusting.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross, and I cannot stand him. And so anyway, some dumb shit about a romantic dinner. They eat. She knocks him out with some drugs. Actually, that's a perfect time for these pills that she says Dr. Russell gave her, but I don't know. But it would be par for the course.
You want a sedative or something to quiet your nerves?
If she did give her the pills, she's the sedative queen.
She's the sedative queen.
Yeah. So, then I don't care about that. I already said that. Antonia makes moves on Sheridan. She doesn't do well trying to stop him. Yeah. No. Okay. Luis goes back to the cottage. He's like, I can't take this anymore. I have to tell him the truth. I can't let him sleep with my fiance. And so he goes back to the cottage. He's going to tell Antonio the truth. But of course, Pilar catches him and stops him. And she says, she tells him, you will kill your own brother. And then she says, my oldest son has finally come home after all these years. How can you expect me to let you go in there and tell Antonio something that might kill him? As much as I love you and Sheridan, I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I can't let my son die like that. God gave him his life. This pissed me off. She says, God gave him his life, and it's his to take, not yours, Luis. Not yours. Luis would not, in fact, be taking his life.
God would.
God would be taking his life.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I mean, like we've already discussed, I'm not particularly religious, so these are not my views. But if I'm going in the canon of the show and what Pilar believes, and if we're saying her beliefs are true, then this is what I'm going to say. If you truly believe God gave your son his life, then you also believe that God gave your son this fucking disease.
Mm-hmm.
And also that if he gets told the truth, it's not like Luis is stabbing him.
Yeah, I don't like how she's insinuating that Luis is like murdering his brother, because he's not.
Yeah, and saying you're taking your son, you're taking my son's life, you're taking your brother's life by telling him the truth.
Yeah,
because he has a weak brain. It's not my. I didn't give him the weak brain.
Weak brain.
He's weak brained.
He is.
He is.
He is. I that's just like it's such a terrible thing to say to your son.
I agree. I was pissed.
I don't get it. And like the other thing is too, like obviously like telling the truth is like a big thing in Christianity.
It's
You're-
a big thing for Pilar. Pilar's always telling other people to tell the truth. Mm-hmm.
But manipulation is okay as long as you can like selfishly keep your stupid brain damaged son alive.
Damn.
I mean,
Wait a minute. Shots fired.
because he sucks.
He does suck.
He's a terrible person, and Pilar is selfishly trying to keep him alive when God obviously doesn't want him to be alive anymore.
And maybe he won't die.
That's another thing too. We don't know. He might not die.
We've seen him very upset. He was super upset last week when he thought that Sheridan and Luis were together. And then he was upset. He was super upset at the hospital. We've seen him very, very, very angry and very upset. He can take it.
He can take a hit.
He can take it.
Exactly. And if he can't, well, that was God's plan.
That was God's plan.
You gotta accept
and
it.
another thing about Pilar is she was always talking about like, pray for a miracle, my son, talking to Luis about Sheridan, right? Pray for a miracle. She told Teresa, I think, to pray for a miracle. She told everybody to pray for a miracle, right? You pray for a miracle.
Yeah,
Pray for a miracle that we can tell him the truth and he won't die.
Yeah, instead of like going along with like lies and manipulation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stupid. Just going around each of her kids just saying the most useless and
Pilar.
mean things.
More like Polize.
That was not good.
I know it wasn't.
What about instead of Pilar, it's like Polier?
Ooh, Polier. Thank you. You did it. You fixed it. You fixed it.
Thanks.
Polier. Pilar, more like Polier.
Yeah, see, that's a good ring to it. That's a good ring to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, she tells him that Antonio's life was given by God and it's not yours to take. And as if he was going to go in there and shoot him in the fucking head.
I was about to say something terrible.
Ooh, say it.
I was about to be like, maybe he should have, but no, that's too far.
Yes, too far. But yeah, that pissed me off. I was
Yeah.
really upset with Polier about that.
Me too, because at least have something useful to say.
And it's crazy because she was just, well, this happens before she talks to Teresa, but then she goes and talks to Teresa about like telling the truth and not chasing after Ethan and not doing her job because it's just a ploy to get Ethan back and being honest.
And the thing I don't understand about like her being so upset at Teresa over trying to get Ethan back and like acting like it's the worst thing in the world. How does this directly affect you?
It doesn't.
Like, why is it?
Well, I will say
It does affect her.
it affects everybody in Teresa's life when Teresa starts doing crazy shit, right?
But she
like
always does it.
when she said that when she confessed to Julian's murder, like that threw everybody's fucking life into disarray, right?
That's true.
So it does affect Pilar. I will say that does affect Pilar. Like her antics can have an effect on
but
Pilar's
this
life.
isn't even like an antic.
It's
She's
not
just-
an antic.
It's not like she's doing anything crazy. Now, I'd understand Pilar if Teresa started talking about how, I don't know, she's going to do something crazy to like try to get Ethan back by any means necessary. But she hasn't reached that level yet.
Yeah.
Emphasis on yet.
Yeah. Okay. So then Pilar, let's see. Luis isn't convinced when his mom says, it's not your life to take. Luis isn't convinced and tells her about the vision that he had where he was married to Beth and Sheridan was married to Antonio. And they talk about that for a moment. That's when Sheridan comes outside and Luis tries to convince her to tell Antonio the truth, and they go back and forth about that for a little bit. He says, you know, tell him the truth, or you can make up an excuse and leave with me tonight so you don't have to stay here. And she tells him, no, I'm staying with Antonio tonight. But then she explains that she gave Antonio a sleeping pill. She's knocked him out for the night. And so Pilar says to her, well, everything might be okay now, but what about tomorrow? You can't give Antonio a sleeping pill every time he wants to make love to you.
And like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to sleep with him?
I think I want that to be the episode title. You can't give Antonio a sleeping pill every time he wants to make love to you is so funny to me.
It is really funny.
So Pilar leaves. It leaves them with
Finally.
that to think on. Yeah. Yeah. Leaves them with that to think on. And Sheridan and Luis have like a little romantic night. He's like ordered something, dessert from the
Yeah.
maids and some candles, and they go to the hot tub because I didn't realize the cottage had a hot tub, but it's got a
Me
hot tub
neither.
now. And they go get in, and they're having a romantic night and having champagne and strawberries. It's all sweet, and it's all very it's the bloom bloom. Meanwhile, Antonio wakes up.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he wakes up and he gets up and he's like, Sheridan? And he gets up all disoriented, looking for her, and his head hurts. He's like dizzy, refuses to go to the hospital. I mean, I just want to say this. We haven't talked about it, but what you don't know is, yes, Antonio doesn't know that he's sick, but he keeps fucking passing out and refuses to go to the hospital.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
What is with these dudes and refusing to get help?
I don't know. And so he's walking around. He's a little disoriented. It's clear. I mean, he's drugged. So,
Yeah.
and he actually does see them in the hot tub. At least it seemed like it.
Yeah, because he was like, oh no, or something. Like, he actually commented on it.
Naya was legit confused when he was like, I guess Sheridan's not out here. And she's like, they're right there.
Yeah, like, how did you not see them? They're right in front of you. That bothered me so much. Like, if you were gonna do it this way, then just like maybe like have him, I don't know, around the corner.
Yeah,
don't
it was
know.
odd, but they were right in front of
They
him.
were right in front of him. And you brought up a good point where you were like, why did he start wandering around yelling Sheridan's name? Call her. She has a phone.
Yeah, she has a cell phone. Give her a ring.
Give her a call instead of wandering the neighborhood going, Sheridan.
He's like wandering the grounds. But yeah, he doesn't find her. He's looking for her. And meanwhile, Luis and Sheridan are like sharing a lovely little night in the hot tub, a little illicit night in the hot tub. And Luis tells Sheridan that he actually still has his grandmother's ring. We had thought about this. You weren't on the show, but we've talked about this on the show, that it was so sad that in the explosion that they lost his grandmother's engagement ring or whatever. It was just like gone to the sea. But we
Aw.
learned that he actually found it because he found the shirt that Sheridan was wearing, and that ring was in the pocket. It was still in the pocket. It's really, I'm gonna chalk it up to, it was just part of that miracle that kept her alive,
Mhm.
because it doesn't make any sense that the ring would still be in the giant gaping pocket of because it was like a white button down.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a shirt with a zipped pocket or anything like that.
So
it was
it
a
would've
white
been-
button down with like a big open pocket at the top. Yeah.
So it would have been like super easy for the ring to just boop come out.
Yeah, they
So-
were in an explosion and it was the ocean. I've lost sunglasses in shallow water.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know what? God works in mysterious ways.
Exactly. It's mysterious ways, like giving Antonio a mysterious illness. This is God's will, people.
And you guys are standing in the way. Let it happen.
It's blasphemy, really.
It really is.
It really is.
And that's why evil keeps coming to
this
harmony.
is why the evil keeps coming. It's because y'all won't let God just run its course. Y'all won't let God do what God do.
Y'all won't let God just run it.
Yeah, y'all won't let God do what God do. You keep trying to keep Antonio safe, but that is not God's fucking will.
Antonio was never meant to be safe.
That is so funny. So anyway, he tells her about the ring. He has it. He proposes to her again. She says yes. And this is when they hear Antonio yelling for Sheridan.
Mhm.
And so she very quickly like gets out and goes and deals with him, right? Meanwhile, let's talk about Beth and what's going on with her and Edna. So they go home from the cottage and they argue with each other back and forth. Edna tells her, you know, I'm going to make sure that you never get with Louise. And Beth is angry with her because when they were leaving the cottage, Beth had planned for Louise to take the two of them home so that she could have some time with Louise away from everybody else, right? And she was like, I'll be there to like lick his wounds basically and you know, help him get through this very tough time, right? But Edna tells Louise, no, you should stay here. You have to stay here and keep an eye on Antonio and Sheridan. You can't let them be together. You have to stay here. We can find our own way home. You have to stay here. And Louise agrees with her. He's like, thanks. Thank you. Great.
Yeah,
And
don't have to tell him twice.
That's why he stays behind and we see all the things that happened, whatever. So when they go home, Beth is pissed at Edna. They argue, fight, very toxic. Edna starts like praying. And she opens up this like curio cabinet that we were like, what is that? And it was like a shrine, I guess. It had all kinds of like, I guess, religious iconography in it, I
we
guess.
couldn't tell. All I could see was like pixels, but I'm assuming that it was like religious stuff.
Yeah. So she opens it up and she starts like praying. She says, powers of goodness, angels in heaven, please save my wicked wanton daughter from the evil ways. Stop her animal lust for Louise. Stop her from ruining his happiness with Sheridan, please. And then Beth tells her, you know what? Pray all you want, but tonight's your last night here. Your time's up, lady. I'm sending you to Sweet Serenity. And Edna gets very upset. She's worried. She's like, no, my friend Martha, you remember my friend Martha went there. And Beth is like, yeah, I remember. And she didn't last a week because Sweet Serenity apparently is a heinous place where elders are being abused and basically murdered, apparently.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
basically threatening to murder her.
yeah, she tells her, I'm sending you to Sweet Serenity. And but then Edna like plays this weird like psychological game with Beth. These two, honestly, I would watch a show of just these two in like a psychological thriller type of show that's just them.
It's so unnerving, like their dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Edna, she goes from being terrified about being sent off to Sweet Serenity to being extremely callous. And it was like a switch flipped in her. And she says, you're not going to send me to Sweet Serenity or any other old folks home. She says, put my bag back and unpack my things. Face the fact that you are stuck taking care of me until your dying day.
That's crazy. And when I heard that, I was like, how long are you planning on living, lady?
Well, in their what if visions, she was alive at 120. Yeah. So
Whoa.
I don't know how real that would be, but
You gonna hold on.
So she tells her, you're stuck taking care of me until your dying day. And Beth is like, no. And Mrs. Wallace is like, yes. Oh, yes, Bethy. And Beth's like, no. Actually, we should do this. I'm gonna do Mrs. Wallace. All you have to do for Beth is no. Okay. But you have to get like more and more. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not going to Sweet. No. After I'm done with my. After my line, I'm not going to Sweet Serenity or any other old folks home. So put my bag back, unpack my things, and face the fact that you are stuck taking care of me until your dying day.
No.
Oh,
no,
yes.
No.
Girl, wait. You just say no. Then
I thought you wanted me to, because when you said all you got to do is say no, I thought you wanted me to keep saying no.
After my line, you say no.
Just one time.
You can say it twice, but don't say it over. Don't talk over my lines.
Oh, because you said you wanted to like increase in intensity.
Right, but you don't talk over my lines. Because that's how you wouldn't know this because you've never done theater, but
you wouldn't know know this
scene
because
works.
you haven't been where I've been, but this is how they do it in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, you don't talk over other people's lines.
I
So
didn't
step
know.
on my line.
Oh,
Let's try
okay,
again.
okay.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna try and do my Edna Wallace voice.
Okay.
Let me get it together.
Okay.
Oh, Bethy. Here it is. I'm not going to Sweet Serenity or any other old folks' home. So put my bag back, unpack my things, and face the fact that you are stuck taking care of me until your dying day. No. Oh, yes. No. Yes, you have to face the fate and accept that you cannot change. Yes, you have to accept your fate, accept what you cannot change. See, I am not going to an old folks' home, and you are never getting Luis. Never, ever. No! That's it, Bethy. That's right here. This right here is it. No! Yes! No, put that. And then, I don't know what that was. Anyway, she said, this is your life, Beth. Enjoy it. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. And she starts like marching around.
In her walker.
Oh, yeah. The truth is marching on. So, and scene. Good job. Actually,
Thanks.
I'm going to give us a round of applause for that.
Yay, we did it.
There's also boo.
Why are they booing us?
All right. So anyway, the next morning, Beth takes Luis some breakfast to the B&B where he's staying, which gives Luis the idea. He's like, oh, thanks, Beth. This is great. This gives me an excuse to go over to the cottage. I was trying to figure out how I could go over there without arousing suspicion, but I can just take this breakfast that you made for me and give it to Sheridan and Antonio. And this was mean. I didn't like this at all.
Yeah.
She clearly doesn't like this. And she says, Luis, I made this for you. And he says, yeah, and I appreciate it more than I can say, but I think Sheridan and Antonio are going to appreciate it even more. I mean, we all know about your expertise in the kitchen.
Mm.
And then he takes that basket and it makes Beth sad, understandably so. Now, I have two thoughts here. One, I am angry with Luis because you know that woman's in love with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're aware that she's in
And
love
you're
with you.
gonna
Just because
rub-
you broke off the engagement and you're not in love with her the way you are in love with Sheridan. She's still in love with you, and you know that. She was ready to marry you. She loves you. She said it a bunch of times. So you need to set a boundary with Beth.
Mhm.
But if you're not going to set that boundary with Beth, you need to at least be nicer to her
Yeah.
when she brings you something, and understand that this is coming from a place of like she's in love with you, and you need to deal with those situations with care. You have to handle that with care.
Mhm.
And he was very careless when he just took the basket and was like, this is great. This is a great excuse.
Yeah.
And
And
it
he
was-
just saw it as like an instrument to like get closer to Sheridan.
Exactly, to keep Sheridan from Antonio or whatever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and it hurt Beth's feelings, and it was clear that it hurt Beth's feelings.
Yeah.
But the other side of this for me too is I get that Beth wants to be with Luis, and I know that she's about to keep doing her little things to try to get him or
Little
whatever.
games, yeah.
But I wish she would move on from him, and like you also can't be mad and upset that he is taking this, he's doing everything he can for Sheridan, because he's been very clear with you about, oh, Sheridan is the one that I'm meant to be
yeah,
with.
it's not like he was ever like really like wishy-washy.
Right. He's never been wishy-washy on
Yeah.
it.
It's pretty clear that he only has eyes for Sheridan, so you need to move on. There are more men in Harmony than just Luis.
Yeah, there are more men in Harmony than just Luis. So I do think I see both sides of it. I was more upset with Luis than I was with Beth, for sure.
Yeah, like in that instance, it was just such a mean thing to do.
Yeah, he was just so flippant about it.
Yeah, like he didn't care. He was like, I don't care that you made this breakfast for me. I gotta use this to get into the cottage.
Yeah, and he does. It's like he doesn't even consider the fact that the reason she made that for him is because she's in love with him, which he knows that she's in love with him, but he doesn't even consider that that's why she did it, and that this is something that she, like a gesture that she made for him specifically.
He doesn't understand like why that would be so hurtful for him to just
Yeah.
re-gift it.
So exactly, and call it an excuse, a good excuse. Yeah. So my heart did go out to Beth for that. So anyway, they then make their way over to the cottage. At the cottage, Antonio is waking up on the couch, confused. Right? He's
As
like,
usual.
you know, why did we end up here? Blah blah blah. Whatever. They fell asleep, and he's like, but tonight I'm gonna sleep with you. Tonight.
God.
You're not going to be able to keep me off of you, basically.
You can't think of anything else.
She remembers that she has on, before he wakes up, she looks down at her hand and realizes she has on their grandmother's ring that Luis gave to her last night. And she frantically tries to get it off, but she can't. He wakes up, he sees the ring. He's like, wait a minute, I recognize that ring. That's my grandmother's engagement ring. How'd you get it? Questions her about it. And, before she can answer, Luis and Beth show up. They don't knock. They just walk in. And Antonio is like, great, I'm glad y'all here. I was just trying to figure out how Sheridan got this ring. Eventually, he deduces that Luis gave her the ring. He's like, wait a minute. Luis gave you that ring, didn't he? And then he says to Luis, why'd you give her this ring, Luis? And he says, well, Mama said that I could give it to her. And Antonio's like, thank you, Luis. I mean, I wish I could have given it to her myself, but I'm sure Mama was just trying to, just wanted to get it to her as soon as possible. So thank you for giving it to Sheridan. And thank you for giving it up, because apparently Pilar had told the two of them that whichever brother got married first, that was the brother who would get the ring. And so he was like, and you could have used it for Beth, but I appreciate you letting me have it. And like, whatever. God, shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. He just completely misreads the situation as usual.
What a leap, honestly.
It's not the biggest leap he's made. So
this is light work for him.
Yeah. Then later, Luis tells Sheridan separately we can't go on like this, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. They go back and forth. And then meanwhile in the living room, Beth is trying to convince Antonio to elope as soon as possible with Sheridan. And that is all we have for today. Anything to add?
Nope. I think that's it. I think we covered everything.
We covered it all, top to bottom. So with that, honey, would you like people to follow you on social media? And tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, if you guys like art, you can follow me on Instagram at Kokebii, KOKEBII_ at Instagram.
All right, and I'll put that in the description. And as usual, you can find me on the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/passionspodcast. Sign up for whatever tier you find most agreeable, and you will be able to get on the Discord and send me a message if you want. And we're having a lot of fun. So with that, you are my passion for life. Bye.